After multiple rounds, a top 24 shootout, finally we are at the MSA Showdown finals day. This is the top 10 of the MSA Showdown. My name is Ernest Page and welcome to the MSA Showdown powered by ATK. Of course, also Kailami 9 Hour and Coach Dave Academy, where the drivers will be taking some of the fastest Mercedes-Benz available in gaming around some of the trickiest and most interesting circuits. Today, the three circuits include Monza, Spa, and Barcelona, and the day will be broken up into a series of races where drivers will be whittled down to find out who our MSA Showdown is, and the person who will be representing South Africa in the overseas championships that takes place in just a couple of weeks' time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last day of what has been an incredible season. My name is Ernest Page, and today, as always, I'm joined by Marius Roberts. Marius, welcome to the MSA Showdown. We've got Daniel Haynes in the virtual booth as well. This is what it comes down to, and it comes down to a Gran Turismo final.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a bit of a race of champions scenario in a way. Daniel and I were actually chatting just before the stream went live, and yeah, I mean, you got so many different formats of motorsport, and it's not unusual to bring them all together to see who the best of the best really is. But I think what we need to reiterate, and you mentioned it, obviously the winner of this getting to represent South Africa at the FIA World Motorsport Games, and they've made the choice to go Gran Turismo, GT Sport.
Yes.
So it might seem like the GT Sport guys are going to have a massive advantage here, but at the end of the day, when you are representing your country, that's the format. Had they have chosen ACC, I can tell you now we'd be racing a very different format. But our PC-based guys have had the week to come up to speed with Gran Turismo Sport. What I do think is amazing is that they're all here. They haven't said, we don't stand a chance, we're not pitching up. I'm glad to see every single one of them is here, and I know the guys are going to give it their all, and I think we're going to be in for a cracker day of racing. 2 sprint races and obviously the whole feature race at the end. And I think the feature race is really obviously where the strategy is going to come in, and I think that probably is going to be really beneficial to the guys that are used to running with fuel and engine mappings in Gran Turismo Sport. But I think it's going to be pretty even when it comes to the sprint races with our PC guys versus PlayStation.
As you mentioned, all the drivers are here today, and what an interesting challenge for the boys from ACC. But our man Daniel here has been chatting to the guys from Gran Turismo, and this is a war as the drivers head into the top 10. You've got 5 drivers from one team in the DMR stable, and then of course you've got all the individual drivers from ACC. Some of the most talented drivers we've ever seen now stepping into this format. Daniel, you're the man with the inside scoop, so what can you tell us?
Yes, I can't wait. I've never known an event where you've mixed console versus PC in sim racing. It's the first one I've been involved with. Obviously, I'm representing the PC Master Race, so I'm rooting for the PC guys to at least show a little bit of spirit against the GT Sport. It's brilliant that they've all pitched up. They definitely have a disadvantage. I've been speaking to both of the ACC guys and the PlayStation boys. Everyone on the PC side's majorly underplaying their hand. They're not expecting a lot, but they're here. I think we will have a couple of dark horses in the field, though, and we just bring up the names here. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing Luke Addison. He has a lot of GT Sport background in him as well, so even though he qualified through PC, he is one of the guys to watch. And Jordan Sherritt, he played it down to me on Discord in the week, saying, hasn't had much time to prep, not expecting a lot, but secretly, I don't know, Dean, I spoke to Dean as well, and he's expecting quite a bit from Jordan Sherritt, so I don't think it's a complete write-off for the PC guys. I will be backing them. I'm hoping they can really get into the mix. I think in the sprint races especially, they have a chance.
Well, we've heard rumors that Jordan Sherritt has got a console GT base of sorts. We've heard the same rumors about some of the other drivers, and I think that's true. Marius and I have spoken about this. I mean, I myself played Gran Turismo first before I hopped onto anything on a PC. So did Marius. So, I mean, I think a lot of these guys would have dipped their toes into the water at some stage. But how much of that is going to translate when you're taking on 5 of the best, arguably, GT Sport players in the country? We saw guys like DKP, who was running second in our championship at one stage, get knocked out of last 2 weeks ago's top 24. But other than him, I think these guys are 5 of the best GT Sport drivers in the country, taking on 5 of the best Assetto guys in the country as well. And as we mentioned, they're going through to those FIA Motorsport Games taking place on the 29th to 31st of October. I mean, what an honor. Can we just talk about, Marius, how much is at stake here? We've got an interview coming as well with DMR Dino, who's going to be joining us. But Marius, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions for him, but there's a lot at stake here, isn't there?
Yeah, I just think, when we started this little adventure last year, it was my first time commentating anything that was sim racing, and the big push was always to legitimize this, to turn it into a sport that people are going to look up to and respect. And I think through the 80K Pro Series, this year even then last year having MSA, having a look at it, getting more involved this year, understanding the FIA World Motorsport Games is there. This is the real deal. You're going to be representing your country. I mean, we're all getting fired up watching the Olympic Games. You have a look at the support that Tatiana gets when she wins gold in the swimming pool. Well, I mean, these guys are going to get to experience that exact same vibe representing their country. So I do, in a way, obviously, I mean, I feel sorry for our guys like Jason Abschmeyer, who is like, I've put in all this hard work in ACC. But I'm like, dude, this has got nothing to do with ATK and the Pro Series. This is what the FIA has decided to go on. So at the end of the day, I think it's all about supporting as a collective the sim racing transition to the real thing, because that's really what it is. So for you to represent your country, what an honor. This is no longer a game. This is real.
Oh, and well said. I'm looking through the comments here on the MSA Showdown Finals YouTube channel. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the Pro Series ZA page, and keep those chats coming. We've got DMR Dino as he is known, Dino K, who absolutely, for the most part, stomped the competition running up into these finals. DMR Dino, I know that our man Daniel has chatted to you off air, but on the record, what can you tell us? What's the team morale looking like going into the finals, as you've got 5 team members and yourself, the champion, going into these finals?
Good afternoon. Sorry, I think you did a little bit of a breakup there. I just joined the lobby. How are you guys? Good?
Very good. Very good. Glad to have you with us. But it's not about us, Dino. How are you? How are you feeling going into the finals?
Shaky. I think any humble gentleman will be able to tell you that they'll be shaky, but confident, very confident. It's going to be super, super close between all the gents, and I know exactly what to expect from each one. So I don't want to give you guys the surprises and the heads up, but you can expect for some exciting battles. No team orders today.
Yeah, well, Dean, I mean, you and I have obviously chatted backwards and forwards online through messaging, and I know Daniel was chatting to me earlier as well. You've really been a great help, you and a lot of the guys, getting us to understand the GT Sport scenario. And one thing that always amazes us, you guys have everything figured out to the last, I don't know, 10th of fuel to this lap delta. Everything is organized and planned. A little bit different when it comes into the sprint race, obviously. Do you think the PC-based guys are in with a shot when it comes to sprint race? Because I think it's going to be a real tough one when it comes to the long race.
Absolutely. I spoke to Daniel yesterday as well. The easiest thing to do with getting a new game is, if you just have 2 races or 2 tracks to learn, is to get within half a second of the fastest guys on a lap time. So if there's no tire wear management, fuel management, it's basically just getting used to a little bit of the physics, smashing a lap on the track you already know, and just adjusting to that. And with the grid starts and the GR4s, there's no getting away from someone. If you mess up, let's say, a last corner parabolica, if you're within 750 or 7.5 tenths, that's going to pull you right back if you had a bad exit or a bad entry. So the slip train here today is going to be absolutely powerful. If somebody loses 750, they're gone. If it's the PC guys and they're not up to pace,
it's an interesting thing, that, because I mean, I'm seeing qualifying on our screen at the moment. I start thinking about it. We know any real racing you watch here, everyone's trying to get a toe around Monza. We know in GT Sport it is massive. So I mean, what you're saying there means we're in for a cracker race, because if you're hanging on to the back of that train, you're still in with a shout. But you guys have to be careful when it comes to qualifying, because I can guarantee you our stewards are going to be looking for teammates helping teammates when it comes to slipstreaming for better qualifying positions. In a sprint race, where you qualify is crucial.
I completely agree with you, yes. And we discussed that the whole season, not one of our team members did quali. The only reason we don't do slip quali is because of the fact that, oh shucks, I see quali has started. maybe just ask them to postpone for 2 minutes. But no, we don't like to quali in slip because we want to get our own true reflection of our own pace and skill off of that. So there will be no quali or slip quali at all from our side.
Oh, Dino, I think we need to let you go soon.
Get your lap in, Dino. Don't start chatting to us.
Yeah, we will chat to you soon. They will be driving the AMG Group 4 car, which has got about 419 horsepower. It's the SLS, Marius, and we've spoken about this car. Even though this is in race trim, it's not going to be an easy car to drive. And in fact, they're going to be driving that car more than once today. So what are your thoughts on that car that they'll be using for at least 3 of those races, Marius?
Two things. Very cool listening to what Dean said there. The guys all know the track, so at least I think in terms of putting together this format, it's actually very clever. Tracks that the guys know. In terms of getting your head around it, makes it a lot easier. The SLS, I'm glad that earlier in the season we did race the road going SLS. Obviously, a spec'd up track version is going to be a lot more enjoyable to drive, but it has got a long flippin' front end, so it does love to push the nose, but because you are sitting on the rear axle, there is always snap oversteer on this sort of thing as well. So quite a tricky car, but I think the fact that they're going to Monza, which, it's a lot of straight line stuff, and then moving up to Barcelona, where it's a bit more technical from a cornering perspective, I think the guys are warming up. So I'm glad we've got our format the way we have. I think it's brilliant. So looking forward to a cracker opening qualifying.
Qualifying on the way, folks, at Monza. We're going to ads, but we will be right back for the top 10 finals. MSA Showdown. Here we go, folks.
Yeah.
None of this would be possible without Coach Dave Academy in Motorsport South Africa as we go on board with Juan de Jager in the Dead Men Racing DMR car. He's currently first on track. And as we mentioned earlier on, there is a slew of DMR drivers here, 5 to be exact, a clean sweep for Team DMR, and unbelievable turn of events because it was a mixed bag for most of the season, but the DMR guys just pulled it through in the finals. And if they're saying no team orders, I find that a little hard to believe, Marius.
I'm going to give that to Daniel because him and I were chatting about this before the stream went live, and I know he's done a bit of a chat with the guys. Daniel, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to help each other out a little bit, but from speaking with Dean quite extensively yesterday, there is a feeling in the team that there are the 2 quicker drivers of those 5, and we're specifically looking at Kaketso Polani and obviously Dean himself. They're expecting to be pulling away from the rest of their group. They're not underestimating the PC guys, but they are very confident, it has to be said, and probably quite rightly so. I don't think they're going to be going out their ways to push each other off the track, obviously. So to that respect, there will certainly be team orders. But I have been promised that, if one of them pulls it out of the bag somehow, then they're not going to be asked to move over, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're on board now I've just got to get these names right, but that is Jordan Shedder over here, ITZ Stereo Z. That is Jordan Shedder hugging the inside there, the parabolic on his way to the final curve, or through the final curve. And Jordan Shedder, definitely the man to watch, the ACC second in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, and also the person that was tipped to win the championship gets picked by Jason Abschmeyer, who is now currently also on track. And we've got Stereo Z and Juan pulls over there, gets overtaken. But yeah, what do you think? I mean, I don't see Jordan Shedder doing too well, but he is Jordan Shedder. And one of the things we were saying earlier, he's a competitor. These guys are competitors. They are about winning. It's regardless of what it is, but the deficit could be too much.
Let me put it to you this way. If you are a racing driver, you jump from a single-seater into a tin top. dude, you're going to be on pace. You're going to be there and thereabouts. It's not like you've literally come from the moon and never seen something with 4 wheels before. So I don't think it's going to be a case of these guys being completely out of their league. Obviously, the way the games interpret dynamics and the way they do things are very different. And what I've seen from GT Sports perspective is that you can get away with a lot more stuff. It's not as precise in terms of how you have the car set up. So I think once they get their heads around that they can actually go into corners a little bit crazier than they probably would have in ACC and survive it, you're going to be in with a shout. And I think that's what we've got to remember here as well. So I think in the sprint races, we're going to be in with a close battle. And like Dean was saying, the toe, especially around Monza, I mean, as long as you're there and thereabouts, it's unrealistic in terms of how the toe works in Gran Turismo Sport. So I think it's going to keep the guys closely bunched. But the real concern is obviously when you get the feature race. But the way the points are working as well, the feature race is double points. So I would love to see a PC guy, and I'm going to put Jordan in that hat. So I think he's going to be there at the end of the day, as well as Luke. I think they're going to be up there and thereabouts in the sprint race. That's my prediction.
Sure. Daniel, from your side, what do you think is going to be happening as we go on board with Diamondino also now through... what section is this, going towards the parabolic, if I'm not mistaken? What do you, that's Dagna 1 and 2, apologies. What are your thoughts on how these guys are going to do from ACC?
Yeah, so the PC guys understandably think they've been dealt maybe a tough hand, but ATK have done everything they can in the format that they've chosen with these 2 sprint races. So there's no fuel, it's 0 fuel wear, there's no tyre wear to worry about, it's 15 minutes, no pit stops, fixed tyres, everything's fixed, it's on tracks they know, Monza, Barcelona, Spa. So for them to have a chance, the PC guys, they have to nail these 2 sprint races. Qualifying and sprint races are absolutely vital for them, because the feature race where you suddenly add back the fuel mapping, and I've worked out how vital that is, the tyre wear, pit stops, all of a sudden it gets a little bit more difficult. The intricacies of the game, it's very important that you know those, but it's real fair. For the 15-minute sprint race, it's fair for everyone. And then you've got a huge drag as well, so that it's vital that they get a good start. But they've got nothing to lose, have they? They're rocking up. No one's expecting anything from them, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a cat amongst the pigeons amongst one of these PC drivers.
Yeah, well, the cat amongst the pigeons of late has been Kaketso Pilani, who's now currently in pole position. Kaketso has got a rich history in Gran Turismo. But hasn't been featured in the season much. He was a wild card. And funny enough, we've got 2 wild card entries over here. We've got Luke, who's currently down in 7th position, and then, of course, Kaketso, who's now currently in 1st position. And these are 2 wild card guys that haven't done badly at all. I mean, they're here today. And this is why what I liked about the wild card system is that you give guys the opportunity that might have missed the entry. Kaketso's story is quite interesting. He missed the entry because of school. He missed the championship because of school.
Wow. Okay. So there's finally somebody that actually plays these games, that actually goes to school or does work. Because I look at the hours these guys put in, I'm just thinking, Jesus, that's all they do. They're like 24/7 on a console. But yeah, listen, I mean, it was a great intro there in terms of a wild card, because he blew us all away. We were getting to know the guys in GT Sport, and suddenly arrived at that semi and was just like unbeatable. And we saw him make what we thought was a horrible mistake in that feature race. But apparently there was actually a brake fail, Daniel was telling us, on his actual brake pedal. So he ended up taking over the thumbs and still managed to get a good result in that. So super talented. So I think Dean is really anxious, because I think this is what that shootout's going to be. Daniel alluded to it between Kaketso and Dean Nokia. It's going to be an interesting battle. But I think our PC guys are all wild cards today. We know Luke, as Daniel said, has had some experience, but made the wild card via ACC and obviously blew us away as well. So I think all of our PC guys are wild cards. They just have to go for it and go and have as much fun as possible. It's going to be interesting. Like we know the DMR guys by now, but it's quite interesting now to pick up the ACC guys. We're used to seeing their names. So thank you, Jason Absmeyer, for just keeping it really simple and making your name your name.
Yeah, brilliant.
So as commentators, we know exactly what the hell's going on.
Well, I'm getting some comments in the chat box here. Some of the guys are saying that ACC and GT Sport are quite different. And we'll see then. I mean, this is what we're here to see. We're here to see again how these guys feature. But so far, you got the top 2 guys on the top 2 spots. You got Kaketso and and Pilani, and of course Diamardino in second position there. And so far so good for those two guys. The DMR guys are certainly not stressing out too much at the moment. In third place over there, I see we've got that looks like Stefan Mocker over there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And Jean de Jager's in the mix as well. We're still waiting for official results so that these guys, we can see what Jordan Shedden actually does. I don't think he's going to be doing his his usual hop out, get into the car one lap before the end of qualifying though.
No, listen, I don't think. And I like what the guys are saying. Obviously, we realize this is very, very different ACC as opposed to Gran Turismo Sport. And I think if it was real cars, real racing, the transition between front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, tin top would be a lot easier. But at the end of the day, it's tracks they know, it's motor cars.
Well, there you go. There you go. We've got the official results there, Marius. We've got Keketso in first place, apologies. Diamardino in second. Jean de Jager in third. SMP Pro in fourth. We've got our man over there from ACC in fifth position, beating out Taylor Huey in sixth. And off they go. This is a standing start sprint race, ladies and gentlemen. The race has kicked off in sprint racing. I love these standing starts. We've got Sticky going into first place, DMR in second, but so far they nose to tail with the ACC boys having a look there down the outside as they go into the very first tricky corner at Monza.
Yeah, Keketso went offensive immediately, which you've got to do. As he got off the line, he immediately closed the door on Dean there, just securing that chicane. It's so tricky, easy to see guys fall over each other. Usually you've got 60 GT3 cars going around here, but today we're obviously only with 10, so it does make it a lot easier. But well done to Jordan, obviously leading the PC charge in fifth with Luke in seventh. And it's going to be interesting how they get this worked out.
Oh, SMP Pro gets into the mix there, sneaks through, and look at that. There's such a tricky section to overtake. The guys are touching and wrestling each other. Three abreast now going to Degner curves. Who's going to take it? Looks like SMP Pro gets out in front. And that's Stephen Mocker over there out in front behind Taylor Huey. Behind him, we've got Ignite. That's, of course, Jordan Shedden.
But have a look, is that correct? So we've got in fifth place, Luke's actually got the better start there. So I don't know what's happened there to Jordan not getting off the line well. Obviously we're seeing him involved in a battle here, but he's now sitting in fourth. In fifth is Luke, so this is a real little battle. Hey, the PC guys, you're meant to be racing against the GT Sport cars, not amongst yourselves. But anyway, it's good to see them mixing it up.
Jordan Shedden mixing it up well there in fourth position. He's in that red car there in fourth position. And he's at the tail end of the field there, and Jordan Shedden looking really good as we go on board with him there, right behind the top three. Now the top three guys are the guys to watch: Jean de Jager, Diamardino, and of course we've got Keketso Pilani there in first position. Let me get that man's name right. I think that name is a name we're going to have to remember in future. 13 minutes to go with the top four now, separating themselves big time from the rest of the field. So all eyes now on these three guys in front, getting chased down by the ACC man, George Shedden.
And we had Dino before telling us how important slip is. It's the most important thing on for the three tracks we've got today in Monza. It's worth 0.75 down that main straight out on the exit of Parabolica. So the fact that Jordan Sherritt's managed to hold this leading group and they've broken away from the pack behind, it's going to be very difficult for that pack behind to catch up. But if Jordan Sherritt can just keep onto the back of it, he can basically get towed along. And then at the end of the race, you've only got to make a pass and you can get yourself on the podium. So it's really impressive from a PC driver to be holding on to these this front field.
Yeah, the gap. Yeah, sorry, Marius, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it really is impressive, and it's crazy to think that in one lap they've gone and opened up such a gap. But to be fair, the guys that are sitting in fifth place and down are really involved in one hell of a battle, swapping paints on every single corner here. So that's not helping their cause. But this is really pretty much what we've seen, just from the semis 2 weeks ago. These guys are kind of a bit of a step above the rest in terms of time. So to see Jordan hanging on to them is brilliant. Luke is having a really good race as well. And it's two little races that we can get to watch here. So Keketso is a man on a charge, and he's super smooth as well, picking his lines here really well and actually opening up a little bit of a gap over Dean. So it's something Dean will be aware of, because the slip obviously, as Daniel correctly said as well, massive benefit here. But Keketso slowly starting to eke out a bit of a gap here.
So we see Jordan Sherritt just dropping off the back of this field, but we should see by the time he gets into the turn 1, he'll be right back there, because you pick up a slip even at 0.75 behind the car in front. So you can have quite a substantial gap and still gain full 100% slipstream in GT Sports. So he should be able to, it shows you the power of the slipstream.
You can see that time tumble. He was 0.6 seconds behind, and then it dropped to 0.4.5. So 100% right there. It looked like Johan de Jager trying to make a pass on Dino there. Johan de Jager down the inside. He's had enough of third place, and he tries to have a go for it. Oh,
Sherritt's, he's gone.
Sherritt spun out. Sherritt got caught up there in that little incident. He's going to try and sneak ahead of the guys. The rest of the pack sneaks in behind. As Luke Addison right up behind Jordan Sherritt, almost colliding. That was too close there for comfort for those boys. But Sherritt in the lead there and sneaks it right in front of Luke Addison. What a race.
You know, that happens so easily because you get sucked into a double toe there in actual fact, because you saw Dino and Johan having a good battle, and along got dragged Jordan Sherritt, and I think you end up arriving at your brake marker just so much quicker, and we saw he he did well to actually get that car stopped.
He's back on down there as well. Nice.
And yeah, he's going to lose places, yeah, but obviously doing well just to get that car controlled and back on the track in front of Luke. But that was a big moment. But that is a great example of how that slipstream works down the main straights at Monza.
Yeah, he hasn't actually lost a place, has he? But he's lost the group, and now it's going to be almost impossible for him to get back into that lead pack. So this is now his new race, is to try and lead this pack to the end, I think, for Jordan Sherritt, and take a fourth.
Yeah. He's trying to take his penalty as well without giving up the position. He's still got 1.2. Oh no! That looks like Steven. Was that Luke? Luke could have gone off there. Off the circuit there, so the guys are really swapping paint. Jordan Sherritt letting go his time piece by piece there as we go on board with Tariq Adam in 8th position there. Ignite ZA, Tariq Adam now coming in 7th position, and that looks like
Jason Absmar getting really up close and personal with one of the DMR boys, but great paint there from Jason Absmar. I do love it. He's got the Mercedes livery as well. For you Hamilton fans out there, I know Marius is one for him.
Oh, I love it. Is he crashing into people again today?
No, he's a very nice drive from Jason Absmar, representing the masterclass.
Oh, look at this! It's amazing, hey guys. Here we go. Oh, we've got, as you can see, our man is at the back. Sherritt's at the back. Oh, touching, a little bit of touching happening there. Jason Absmar getting involved in the thick of things there, but managing to keep it tidy, and they all make it through with now Sherritt having a bit of a toe on Jason Absmar.
Yeah, that's one thing we saw when we were jumping from ACC to commenting on the Gran Turismo Sport stuff, is that you can touch, you can get involved. It's actually a little bit easier to do that. So I think that'll be a bit of an eye opener for our PC-based guys, going, oh, I can do this, and the car still goes in a straight line, and I can catch it. I mean, it really is a handful for them. You can see how loose the rear is on the car as well, and that's what's so tricky to get this car balanced, because it's very easy to push the front as well with that long nose, lots of understeer dialed into it. But when you come on the throttle, it's pretty much all or nothing, and you can light up the rear, as we've seen Jason do a few times. But Jordan was coming back at him. Jason's dealt with that quite well. It looks like Jordan got another slowdown, which is why he's dropped off the back of Jason Absmar there. So some breathing space. Jordan obviously is just exceeding track limits and getting punished big time for that, which isn't going to help his cause.
Yeah, Dean was telling me about how strict the track limits are here. So obviously ACC guys will be used to getting warnings and then drive-throughs. But here with the slowdowns, it's basically destroyed Jordan Sherritt's race, isn't it? Those slowdowns have put him, he's lost his front pack, but it's also put him at the back of the second pack as well, just for the slowdowns.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's crazy because there was one mistake and two running wides, and look where he's gone from 4th to, I think he's down in 8th place now, maybe even further down. Yeah, it's crazy, and there's no coming back around Monza in a sprint race. That's it, done and dusted. So I think for Jordan, it's just to try and see how far he can get back up the points, get as many points as he can, because obviously there's points for qualification, there's points for where you finish in the feature race coming up a little bit later at Spa. You score double points, so it's not all over, it's not one and done at the first sprint race at Monza.
Yeah, but currently we've got the usual suspects in the top 3. Dino, though, unfortunately in 3rd position at the moment. Johan de Jager in 2nd, and our man, Mr. Pilane, in 1st place over there. So well done to him for sticking it into 1st position. But the real battle seems to be taking place further back here. Jason Absmar in the mix, our champion from ACC side, representing well here. As I say that, he gets very up close and personal there with Tariq Adam, who's currently just ahead of him, Taylor Huey in front of that. So we got Demar Taylor in 4th position there. We got Tariq in 5th. Jason Abschmeyer 6th, SMP Pro sliding a little bit back, Stefan Mocker into 7th, and it looks like our man has slipped all the way, Jordan Shedd, all the way back down. Don't even see him on the standings list.
I think he's 9th.
Leslie Oliphant in 8th. So it is becoming a bit of a race between the PC guys just to see whether they can beat each other in this sim, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've got Tariq Adams, who we haven't really mentioned so far, is the fastest of the PC guys. So Jordan Sherritt was quicker at the start, but mistakes has put him so far back. Tariq Adams is at least consistent in race trip.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting as well? These are the guys, Tariq, I know you said to me, he said, he doesn't stand a chance. Chatting to Jason, I know the GT Sport guys won't like it. He said, coming from ACC to this, it's like going from DVD to VHS. But knowing, yeah, but he holds on to it. I mean, that's a line through there as well. But you know, knowing Jason, he's a very cool, calculated customer, and he's not known to overdrive things. And I think that's what's obviously going to hurt Jordan. It's just trying a little bit too hard, pushing too much, trying to take too much margin. Whereas Jason's just kind of said, "Let's get into it." Now look at the race they're having. So this is awesome between him and Tariq Adams. And yeah, they are with a proper GT Sport driver behind them, and he's keeping him away. So Stefan Mocker won't be happy about this, because I mean these are two guys that should be nowhere in this format that are really putting on a great show. So that's Stephen Mocker in that shocking pink car, Jason Abschmeyer just ahead, and the yellow livery car up there, Tariq Adams. So
Tariq Adams and Jason Abschmeyer, they're definitely having some fun though, aren't they? My word, they're gonna. I mean, they might be a bit upset that they're not in the positions that they're used to at the top, but they're having a ball. You can see it.
Yeah, I think they're loving the fact that they can lean on a car and it's all good to go. And you watch, I mean, the amount of overdrive. I mean, Ernest, you were looking at him going through the parabolic and thinking he's run wide, but I mean, he had full steering lock, and he still got control of the car, came back on power, and ended up with a good exit. You know, because that wide line actually really does work through the parabolic. There are 2 clear lines through there, so he went for the wide one, and it didn't punish him too badly. But we head up to the front of the field. We haven't seen these guys in such a long time. Juan Diago running in 2nd place, 4 seconds up the road is complete score. He literally has run away from it.
Dino's in 3rd. What's happened to expected him to be in 2nd place, to be honest. So we've got Keketso in leading this race, but it's really Keketso. Well, the feeling was it was Keketso or Dino, but Dino can't afford to lose points to him. That's for sure. I think he's really banking on trying to win the feature race at the end, is Dino. But these are still points available for qualifying in these sprint races as well.
Yeah, and what's worrying me now is that, I mean, obviously Keketso's gone, but Dean's falling off the back as well of Juan Diago. So, yeah, he's going to really struggle to close that gap now, because even though we know the drag is significant in Gran Turismo Sport and you at Monza, he's not going to be able to close that gap, I don't think. So he's going to have to really put some clean laps together to ensure he gets maximum points. Look, you'll be happy with 3rd, but I mean, the battle was meant to be him and Keketso at this stage.
We've just been told by our stewards, sorry, that Marius, that the reason why Dino's dropped to 3rd is he had a time penalty to burn off, so he's actually made a mistake himself with track cuts. He was telling me how vital track cuts were, and he's done it himself.
Well, it takes one little mistake, doesn't it? And the person that we've seen in the last, other than having brake failure and swapping to his controller, like Keketso hasn't made that many mistakes. I mean, he made one catastrophic one at our last event.
Yeah, but it wasn't a mistake. That's what I was saying earlier when I chatted to.
Yeah, it was actually hard to find it.
That was a catastrophic failure. But the thing is, he does look like he has what it takes to represent the country at this event. I mean, at the FIA event, he certainly looks like he's got incredible pace on this game, and I for one, I'm glad that he's bubbled to the surface, if it only happened quite recently.
And have a look here as well. Jordan Sherritt has found his rhythm, settled down. He's closed that gap right into the back of Jason Abschmeyer as we go on board with him right now. Stephen Mocker's dropped further back, so I don't know if he's also picked up one of those slow zones by exceeding track limits somewhere. But Jordan having a good comeback drive here. So expect to see him putting Jason under pressure when we get to the big break point at the end of the straight, that first chicane, because have a look at him closing him down as he runs into the parabolica.
Because this will be his last chance, because 8 laps, that's it, we're finished. So we're going into our last lap now. So this is the last time you're going to benefit from this massive slipstream.
Oversteer moment there. And this is look at that there. Ashmeyer runs wide, touches the cone there. One of he's going to get a penalty for that. But if we can look at the lines, the last lap, as we're going to the last lap, the lines are very different from ACC. I've noticed how you can't cut certain chicanes nearly as much as you do in ACC. And like you said, there aren't even any warnings. So this must have been so difficult for some of these guys. And we saw even Dino falling prey to that as he has a look on the inside of Ashmeyer there, but backs out of it. Ashmeyer all over the place. Both of these cars moving and slipping and sliding. Not losing too much time there, but what a run into the last lap for these guys, still fighting.
So this is a battle for who's going to win the PC race, isn't it? Between these threes, it's really, really important for the bragging rights alone.
And have a look, Tariq's gone defensive and Jason's gone and swapped around to the outside. So if Jason can hold on here on the brakes, he's actually going to have him through the chicane. But Tariq looking really brave. Jason going for the cutback, hoping to get a better drive out of here. And Jordan's just getting dragged along. So this is a grandstand finish for the PC guys. It's brilliant. Wow. Jordan going up the inside of Jason. Have a look, they're leaning on him. Oh, my word.
Now that's the opposite of a Mercedes being pushed there, isn't it? I think that's a Red Bull up the inside there and pushing Mercedes off the bench.
Yeah, that's payback for Silverstone. But I mean, look, to be fair, I mean, if that was ACC and we had an instant report, Jordan would be in big trouble for that because he literally just
wedged his way through.
He just forced his way through. So unfortunately, I don't know what the stewards are going to do about that. But for me, it's kind of ruined that good little battle that Jason was having with Tariq. So expect to see some input from my MSA stewards. But geez, well done, Koketso Pelani running away with the opening race. That is just taking one step closer to the title. Brilliant.
And the big thing is Dino in third. That's missed points because they'd already actually worked out. Dino is expecting to be slightly quicker in the feature race. They'd already worked out as a team that if Koketso won qualifying in the 2 sprints and Dino was second, then they could tie on points. But that might not be possible now with Dino making that mistake and finishing third.
And just have a look at that. Sorry, Jordan actually got past Tariq as well. So a big comeback drive from Jordan. We know he muscled Jason off the track. So interesting to see. Interesting to see what happens from that. But yeah, as you were saying, Daniel, very interesting there. The little points not working in Dean's favor. So he's going to have to come out for the next race to win. But well done, Koketso. Brilliant.
We've got to go to a break. We'll be right back after this to discuss what just happened. And what an interesting turn of events there. Our sprint race at Monza leads us to believe that Koketso Pelani is our top spot man and could be the man that will be going through to the FIA event in October. Juan de Jager has something to say about that, and so does Dean Orkay, but these guys are all on the same team, all DMR drivers. But having said that, the ACC guys put in a fantastic show with Jordan Shedid controversially getting the first of that virtual podium there for the ACC guys. I'm sure there's some bragging rights at play there, but one man is the man at the top of the leaderboard so far, scoring 13 points. Pelani ahead of the other person that we thought might challenge for the spot, Dean Orkay. Keketso Pelani, Marius, this kid is coming out of nowhere. He's still at school, 17 years old, hasn't taken part much because of school commitments. When last have you heard that? But here he is. Yeah,
I liked what you said earlier. I mean, it's not that you want to pick people who would be great representatives of our country, but it is a really cool story, isn't it? We obviously don't get to know him too much because we're not involved in that community, but apparently, like you said, a lot of Formula One stuff that he's done in the Gran Turismo communities, but really showing that he can drive a tin top as well. And he was amazing in the semis, and he started this championship assault in the perfect way, putting it on pole and then and leading from flag to flag. So brilliant. I know Dean's going to have his calculator out, working out the permutations of where he needs to finish in the next race.
Yeah.
But I don't think the results, top three, yes, done and dusted, but I think our lesser positions are still going to be decided, because I think there is going to be some heavy replaying and considering what happens to Jordan Sherritt, because that was a bit of a crazy move. I think we said the guys were having fun and they can push the door-to-door stuff a bit more in GT Sport as opposed to ACC. That was pushing it a bit too far.
Well, that was a mirror of what we saw at Silverstone happen with the Red Bull team and the Mercedes-Benz team over there. I mean, Daniel is our Formula One expert here. I think both of you guys are Formula One couch experts. But Daniel, I'm going to send this one over to you. Do you think this was a reverse incident of what happened at Silverstone?
Yeah, it's perfect that he's even got the Mercedes livery on, isn't it? We got Lewis Hamilton just forced onto the gravel there by a very delinquent Red Bull that was trying to get a bit of a revenge. I think that's definitely being looked at as we speak from the stewards. But just going back to this race, it did turn out in the end to be the GT Sport guys that reigned supreme. And I fear for the PC guys, because I think Monza was their best shout. The toe's not quite as big at Barcelona. It's only half a second on the main straight at Barcelona. So it's going to only get more difficult from here for the PC guys. So it might turn out to be a bit of a bragging rights between the PC guys on who's quickest between themselves. And what the GT Sport guys are going to run away with it, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But just to, I just want to reiterate, if people are just joining the stream now, they might think, well, what is the point of it? Oh, it's not fair. But at the end of the day, I mean, this decision was made by the FIA. So, the person with the best chance to represent our country needs to rise to the top. And that's kind of what we're seeing at this stage. But don't take anything away of how this championship has worked. We have crowned a champion for Assetto Corsa.
100%.
And we've crowned a champion for GT Sport. And that is brilliant. And now we're getting to have some fun where the guys get together. A bit more serious, I think, for our GT Sport guys, because they're in with a real shout to represent our country. But good to see that our ACC guys are here and representing, and they gave us the best on-track action from a commentary perspective. Certainly did. It was a great little battle, 5th, 6th at that point, and we saw Jason drop way down. A little bit surprised with Luke. We kind of thought he would do a lot better. Maybe he's saving himself for the feature race.
Yeah, well, plenty racing still to come. Lots of action still to come. These drivers still have it all to play for. And like we said, I mean, it's only, look at the points difference. It's still tied for third place over there, for second place at least. And only 5 points gap between first and second so far. So, Marius, the points tally could shuffle around. All you need is one DNF. And we saw that happen with Keketso in the previous top 24 heat. One DNF caused massive problems for him at the Nürburgring. That could change things up here again today.
Yeah, listen, I think obviously you're not dealing with real equipment here in terms of brake pedals and the normal type of stuff that can go wrong and having mechanical failures, or so you think. But when you come down to it, look what ends up happening. We had him with a brake fail. So I've just heard from our stewards now as well that Jordan was actually given a 15-second penalty. So that drops him way down. So like I was going to say, these results aren't official, but it isn't really going to affect our top three. So we'll get that rejigged now. So Jordan obviously not going to be too happy with that, but I think he's a racer. He'll know that he was a bit aggressive.
I think when he watches back, he'll have to accept it, won't he? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, only one of these drivers go through, and as you rightly pointed out, Marius, the top 3 now are the guys we're looking at, or in this case, the top 2, with Keketso Pelani, Dino K, and Joan de Jager tied for second place, just 5 points in it. But the day is still young. We still got plenty of action coming up after this. They still got to go to 2 more circuits, one of which we've got 5 minutes left till the next sprint race, which will be at Barcelona, and another 15 minutes of action in the same car. Do we think we're going to see anything different here, Marius?
No, I think we're obviously done with qualifying, because how they finished is how they're going to qualify, if I'm correct, in Barcelona. So you saw how the qualification position of Dean really helped him, sitting on the same points as you, and even though he finished behind him. So that's kind of now out the way. So the result where you finished is really crucial. So Jordan's obviously not doing himself any favors heading into Barcelona, but I don't think things are going to really change too much in terms of our top 3. So those are the guys you want to watch very, very carefully in terms of picking your winner to represent South Africa. But I think there's going to be cracker racing further down. Barcelona, it's a circuit that everyone knows so flippin' well. They've spent a lot of time driving it, not known as the greatest track for overtaking, but I think in Gran Turismo,
it is here. I think in GTS, you're quite right. Yeah,
you can push a pass here big time. And again, there's some places that guys do tend to fall over each other, like at the end of the start-finish straight, a very tricky little section that's very easy to lean on guys, try and go in there side by side. So expect some incidents there as well. But yeah, it's I don't think things are going to shift around for us. I've got 2 races in my mind: who's going to represent South Africa and who's going to be the best of the ACC guys.
I think the ACC guys have certainly not. They were worried that they were going to embarrass themselves. I was speaking to them. I had 2 people come back to me and said, "Oh no, this is going to be embarrassing," and that's not been the case at all. They held their own in that race. They weren't that far behind whatsoever. Jordan Sherritt had a real good run in the front group, didn't he? Until he made that mistake of cutting through Parabolica. The mid chicane. It's lost.
Lesmo won.
Yeah, so that really cost him, and he went straight through on the first chicane, wasn't it? Yeah, he made that braking error. But he was there though, wasn't he? As far as time was going, he qualified in 4th place. He held the group. He really showed, and I think quite a lot of the guys did well. Leslie Oliphant was there. We had Tariq Adams was up there. So they considering they've had 5 days to get some of these guys, probably never. A couple of them I know for a fact. This is the first time they've ever played this sim, and to be up against the best in the country and still be there is impressive.
Daniel, that's because they're too young. There's no way as anybody that's our age.
But GT Sport, I mean. Yeah, obviously you played Gran Turismo on the PlayStation 1. That's probably the last time I played it.
but that's my point. It's like the granddaddy. It's kind of where it all started. But I liked what you were saying about Jordan running with that pace, because even though he made that mistake heading into the first chicane and then those 2 little slowdowns, look at how much pace he had to come back and get onto the back of that little battle between Jason and Tariq. So obviously he'll be a bit grumpy about the positions he's losing now, but expect him to be the guy on the move on the first 2 or 3 laps. So
yeah, he's got nothing to lose now.
Oh, nothing. There's going to be plenty of action. I can assure you of that.
I think those results don't tell the whole story, and that's often the case when you look at the timesheet. You see this guy ended 7th, this guy ended 8th, but that's not the whole story here. Certainly, as you said, the ACC guys have done better than expected. But at the same time, to be able to be consistent over that time period, I think is what's difficult in a sim that you've never used extensively. It takes one little mistake and now you're out of the runnings. And these guys, we've all experienced this, getting used to sims. And for me personally, getting used to ACC, it took me months to get to the point where I could consistently do 10, 15, 20 laps without one mistake, without many mistakes. These guys have had a week. So I think, the timesheet isn't telling the whole story, certainly, of their performances today.
And Ernest, the other thing that's also quite interesting for me, and this is something we've spoken about a few times, Nowhere in the world as a real professional racing driver are you ever going to get the lap time that you do in sim racing. That's what makes it so amazing. So these guys that are the very best in their particular field, ACC, GT Sport, have spent hours, months, years plying their trade, learning the skill. In the real racing environment, you never get to have that amount of seat time. So it is ridiculous to expect them to jump in and just be there and thereabouts. So what Daniel said is so true. They've actually really impressed me because they haven't disappointed. They haven't been an embarrassment in any way, and they've brought us the best racing. But we're going to go to an ad break, and Ernest, when we come back, it's sprint race time. Barcelona. Hello.
Let's do it.
Go. It's the year. Go. Let's go. It's the year. Go. Go. Let's go. It's the year. Go. Let's go. It's the year. Go. Let's go. It's the year. Go. I fly anywhere. Anytime of year. You know
So a quick flight over to Barcelona, and we are at the start of our next sprint race. This is race number 2, and the start line is looking fantastic. This is the finishing order from the previous race. You got Kekana Koketso in first place over there, Joan de Jager in second, Dino in third, Taylor in fourth. We've got, that is Jordan Shedden starting there.
That's wrong though.
I suppose they maybe couldn't change it, but yeah, he should have been a couple of spots back.
That's wrong. He should have been right at the back with 15 seconds. So I don't know what's going on there. But that's, sorry to jump in there, Ernest, but that's obviously not correct. So unless he's gone and paid the stewards, no, I'm joking.
Well, don't start that. We're off. We're off.
That's going to be a meme now. That's going to be a meme. Let's head off into the first corner over here. The guys go onto the racing line. Somebody's going down the inside there. That looks like Juan de Jager getting down the inside. Coquetzo closes the door on Juan de Jager as they go through the S's over there. We saw some incidents happen here before in our previous races over the last couple of months, but now they go back into formation. First, second, third, fourth.
Dean's ran off. Dean's run very, very wide there. So I don't know if you saw, he came in on the power under some pressure there as well. He ran very, very wide. So not the start that he wanted. He obviously wanted to try and get past Juan, and instead now he's found himself dropping back and under some real pressure. So not a great start. Ewan Taylor's now right on the back of Dean Norkia. So not having it all his own way at this point.
It's vital for Dean to get at least second place in this race before they go into the feature race. He can't afford to lose more points to Coquetzo. It might be too much for him to get back.
Coquetzo could be then running away with this thing, especially if the second place finisher is going to be slightly different. Juan de Jager, we're forgetting about him. I mean, he finished in second place and he's still running in second place. So Juan de Jager also in it with a fight over here. I know Dina is the favorite, but
check it this.
He's happening over there.
Oh my word! I think that is Luke and Tariq, I'm assuming, and Jason getting involved now as well. Man,
each other.
No, that's just ridiculous. I mean, that came from halfway down that straight. It's like, no, you aren't turning in. You aren't turning in.
I think they're enjoying the arcade game of GT Sport a little bit more than ATC, because that would be a racing incident right there.
That would be at least. That would be a red flag. What's it? Safety car, steward's office morning incident for sure.
Yeah, I just think what would have happened there is also the car will spin out. You know, you're putting that amount of lean angle on a car like that. Very easy for the guy to kind of lose his way. So I think that may be the problem. Maybe the arcade side of it for them, they end up having too much fun here and not getting down to the racing. But like we saw in Monza, our top four have broken away. Jordan not part of the top four this time. He's sitting in fifth place there, leading the second pack and coming under a lot of Jason. Also, Jason having a proper little comeback drive here, putting Stephen Mocker under big pressure. And I see Jordan looks like he's picked up a go slow. So he's got an exceeded track limits again. So that really is ruining his rhythm. But Jason Absmeyer putting Stephen Mocker under big pressure.
But as I feared, it's harder this race, isn't it? Monza, it was more than one lap. Here it's only one lap, and already the top four have broken away and left the rest of the field fighting for the best of the rest, if you like, in the PC group.
Dean looking good there in third position, now catching up to Juan de Jager, behind him Taylor Huey, but Coquetzo starting to eke out a little bit of a gap there.
It's actually exactly what we saw in the first race, because it literally was one lap and we had a group of four, and then by the second, third lap, Coquetzo started opening up that little gap. But good to see Ewan Taylor involved in this, all over the back of Dean. Dean seems to have got himself settled now, and he's putting some serious pressure on Juan de Jager. And we know that Dean, for his personal championship, needs to finish ahead. But why don't we just talk about Juan's personal championship? He needs to finish in second if he wants to go and finish the race with a chance.
For sure, there's not supposed to be team orders, so he gets 100%. Another second, and he's got half a chance in a feature race if there's a mistake in any pit stop or strategy.
Exactly. So Juan de Jager now suddenly becoming the man to watch, as that is Jason Absmeyer there, tries to take a slightly different line, taking on Stephen Mocker over there in fifth place, telling you in fourth, but Jason Absmeyer now getting pressure big time. Tariq Adam behind him, and Luke Addison as well, just behind the other yellow.
These yellow Mercs are being towed along, aren't they? I mean, I think that's one vehicle.
It's amazing to watch them having a full-on battle. They really are having fun. Jason obviously running as wide as you can, and that is the line through turn one at Barcelona. Really push it as far as you can onto that rumble strip, just to try and straighten the first part of that corner, because it is multi-corner. If you can carry as much speed through that straight line that as much as possible, you really do such a good exit here. So Jason doing a good job. Tariq now going defensive, because he's obviously tired of Luke pushing him down the straights. But this is good battle to watch.
Luke's on the inside there now. They're going down the hill now. There's a left-hander at the bottom of this hill, but Luke Addison gets pushed out once again by Tariq Adam over there. Tariq and Luke not holding back. Oh, Luke Addison now trying to go down the inside, but Tariq keeps it. And still eyes on Jason Absmeyer up ahead.
Yeah, Steven Mocker really, I mean, he's obviously leading the way. We saw him basically getting shown the way by our PC guys when they came to Monza. He finished way further down the field. We're used to seeing him running up in the front, but I think Barcelona is obviously a little bit more of a technical circuit, for sure it is, in terms of getting it set up. So I think you're probably going to find exactly that those type of guys are going to filter all the way through to the top. Jason doing a good job though to hang on to the back of Steven Mocker at this stage, but nothing has changed up front. Juan de Jager still holding on to that second place. Dean putting him under massive pressure, and Ewan Taylor bringing up the fourth spot there. But that gap to Coquetzo looks like it's closed a little bit. So that is good news. We know there's what I think Daniel said, 0.5. If you're within 0.5, there's a tow. So he's definitely going to be in the tow here now. So this is good news for us as a commentating team working on a championship. There's some action up front, and there's certainly a lot of action further back.
That's what I mean. The slipstream effect is quite severe in GT Sport. It's clear to say, but it does certainly give us some great racing, because you've got to be significantly quicker to shake the car behind. And obviously, when they're at this higher standard, that you can't suddenly find 0.5 seconds a lap easy. It's not possible.
When you race your friends on the game with the controllers with a split screen, you got catch up on or off. I think a little bit of catch up, especially with Catalonia's long straight. I mean, there's a lot of time to jump into that slipstream and pull a little bit of time back, as we see the guys doing on Coquetzo over there in first place.
But that's what made Coquetzo's race in Monza so impressive. I think he won by 4.5 seconds around a track that is all about toe. And once you break that, so that's impressive. But I mean, there you don't really have too many corners to show your advantage or show your pace. Whereas, you do. You know, there are a couple of technical corners that you get them lined up properly, and you can break that toe. And he really looks like he's put his head down now, because he's opened up that gap again. So I don't know if he made a little mistake. Maybe we missed something heading into that chicane section just before we arrive at the start finish, because this kind of was the gap that we were used to seeing. But Dean's still trying to find a way past Juan de Jager. He really has arrived here this Saturday.
He's having a great day, isn't he? He's going to be super chuffed. I mean, getting right amongst these two who were felt to be the quickest by quite some margin in their team, but Juan de Jager's not having any of it. Team orders, he's going to take points.
Dean got a 0.5 second penalty now for cutting the corners. I mean, the margins on this game are just so small. Like we saw Juan de Jager now running wide there, and Di Martino gets a 0.5 second penalty. He's going to have to slow down.
It's going to kill him.
That's going to take him out of this top 3 run, and that's going to give Juan de Jager a little bit of breathing space over there in second place.
Oh, this is going to kill him, because, I mean, that is now... Ewan Taylor right behind is going to get right past him, so Dean's losing more points position. But it's also happened, I think that was the exit, running into the start-finish straight. So that's an interesting little turn-up. So now we've got Ewan Taylor, who is obviously in with a real shout to jump into those positions. So this has really livened things up. That worked in Dean's favour, that Juan de Jager got a slowdown as well.
Yeah,
it's just letting Coquetzo gain points on his main rivals behind, isn't it? He's looking destined to get a maximum points from qualifying and the 2 sprint races, exactly like we saw in the semi-finals.
Careful! Don't.
The difference is he had hardware failure. Now we know he had hardware failure in the feature race of the semi-finals.
I know, but I can't believe you said that. This is a complete repeat, and we were going unbeatable. No one will touch him, and then he ran straight up the end of the track.
At the time, we thought it was a mistake, though, didn't we? We were convinced it was a mistake. So.
Commentator's curse is a real thing. Ask me. I've handed out a couple of those over the last couple of races. So. Some very we got on board with Juan de Jager now in second position still. And look at that, the gap with Coquetzo, it's not growing by that much at the moment, even though all this pressure getting applied. Juan de Jager runs wide there. They are side by side through those S's over there. Taylor trying to have a big look around the outside now. Can he do it as they head into the final complex section here?
And Dino dropped it. Dino dropped it behind, didn't he? He's way back. He got fully sideways.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Dino's off.
Oh my word! So this really isn't. He's now going to be under pressure from.
He's dropped into the group behind.
Yeah. So Steven Mocker, Jason Abschmeyer. Wow, things really not going his way. But Coquetzo is loving this, because he really can and it is nice. You know what it's like. You can get into the zone. You actually don't even worry about mirrors anymore. You've broken the toe. You can focus on your own race, because these two are battling hard. So, yeah, Juan de Jager needs to hang on to the second position if he wants to ensure that Coquetzo's under real pressure heading into our final feature race at Spa. But I tell you what, Ewan Taylor is really trying everything. Some real creative lines around Barcelona. The Catalunya circuit is seeing some really impressive racing this afternoon.
And Jason Absmeyer, the best of the PC guys. This one really has been a DMR, sort of top 5. They are filling out the top 5, isn't it? So we've not got any PC guys got up amongst them. But Jason Absmeyer is, he'll be happy. That's all he wanted to do, was beat his own rivals, basically. The rivalry's strong no matter what game you're in.
Well, the championship came down to the wire for him, with his biggest rival not entering the final race, and then him getting the championship title. So for him, this is a victory on the circuit. Even if it's not the same sim, he still gets to walk away with a win over Jordan Shedden.
Can I just say something? Because I think this is actually probably the most important racing weekend for Jason, because I think in the back of his mind he's always thinking, what would have happened, if Jordan had raced the last race and all this sort of stuff. Now it's neutral playing area. None of them know Gran Turismo Sport, so this really is bragging rights, I think, between the two of them. So I'm sure there's a bit of a side hustle going on in terms of that. So,
probably why we saw the incident at Monza with a little bit of argy-bargy as well between the two. They don't care what position it's for and what game it is. A rival's a rival. These are close.
Taylor Ewan having a big look down the inside there, but somehow managing to get squeezed out again by Juan de Jager. These guys, the racecraft at the front of the field is so good. Somebody gets a penalty. Somebody gets a penalty.
I was about to say, you've got
Juan de Jager gets a penalty.
You've got to be so careful there, because the minute you actually just cut that corner, I mean, that is where everyone cuts corners, the game nails you. So this brings Dean back in with a shout. Stephen Mocker is now obviously got rid of Jason Absmeyer. There's an even little gap there. They'll still be getting some toe, but that is really going to flip things around. So as it stands right now, this is really playing into Kuketso's hands, because his closest rival is now dropping a position into third. So man, it's actually a pity, but that's what we're seeing in MotoGP now. Guys getting positions pulled back because they've exceeded track limits by a quarter of an inch, and this is the same thing now that we've seen here. So you've got to be so precise on your overtake, where you position the car, how you defend. Wow, proper, eh?
Now, how is it that this guy hasn't got any penalties, and not that we've seen? He seems to be so precise. He's even got a little sticker on his car that says penalty, but he hasn't got any.
Yeah, because he's dishing out the penalties. Look, I love that. He is
a master of his trade.
Yeah, look, he's got slow down penalties. So I think that's very clever branding. I think he is the guy that's dishing out these. Maybe he is, eh? Maybe he's dishing it out to his competitors. No wonder they're falling back.
The difference between at this higher standard, I was speaking to Jordan Sherritt in the week, and he said that it's not necessarily difficult to get up to a reasonable, respectable speed in a new sim like GTS. What is difficult is knowing the nuances of the game and trying to push the boundaries as much as you can. So he knows how to push the ACC boundaries. He knows exactly where you...
You've seen him look like he's supposed to get a penalty and then not.
And Kuketso knows the GT Sport boundaries, doesn't he? He doesn't get a penalty, but he pushes every single corner to the maximum, and that is worth a lot over a whole race. And that's the difference at this standard.
And they will see it again. We see Jordan Shedden jumping that curb over there, as we do see many times in ACC. We can really get you those two wheels on the circuit, two wheels off the circuit. GT Sport seems to be a bit more strict in places, and that's a great analogy, great way to put it there, Daniel.
Yeah. But what we saw there is actually the right way. He always had two wheels on the circuit. So riding that sausage curve is actually okay on the entry there, but it's when the guys actually just push the line there. But it's a great assessment, that, because it is. Everyone can go put a perfect lap together, but under this sort of pressure, to get that right lap after lap after lap and place your car so perfectly isn't easy. But to be fair, Kuketso has driven brilliantly, which is why he's opened up that gap, and then the pressure comes off in a way. Like I said, you can really now just focus on doing what you need to do. You're not worrying about taking new lines to defend, and that's where you do end up getting yourself into trouble and making those little mistakes. So he's done everything right to get that gap, so you can benefit from the fact of not having to race under pressure.
Yeah, it's like learning a new circuit, but just with 50 more variables in play. It's so tricky to jump into a new sim, and like you say, easy to do one hot lap, but the next race, I think, is going to be it's certainly going to be the decider, but it's also going to put a stamp on how fast these guys are over the course of a much, much longer race, with this 15-minute race now coming to a close.
But then it's massive strategy, eh, Daniel?
Yeah, massive strategy, and also even more nuances in the game, because the GT Sport guys, I mean, I've been speaking to them, they literally change engine maps into braking zones to maximise fuel. I mean, they're changing brake biases multiple times per lap. They can do it on their controller whilst they're turning in. All these little things is going to make it really, really tough. But here we see our leader in Kaketso, and it's a clean sweep in points. He hasn't dropped a point yet.
Oh, unbelievable stuff. Once again across the line, Kaketso, and he's in the lead with 1 lap to go. I think he just took the boys over the finish line with a couple of seconds remaining. So Kaketso in the lead, lap 8 in this 15-minute sprint race. Shedit and Luke finished the race, so they don't have to go around one more time. So they are in those provisional positions. Now the top 6 guys having to figure things out, but there's only one man. Only one man is going to take the win, and that is Kaketso Pilane in first position.
Yeah, well, look, he's actually done enough there now. Same as we saw in Monza, he's got a 4.5-second lead. So if he does make a mistake or cut a corner, that slowdown's not even going to affect him. So that's how dominant his performance has been. So that's brilliant. But crucially over here as well, look at the flip around from a points perspective, because the guy who finished in second, Juan de Jager, is now running in 3rd position, and Dean losing more points. Well done to Ewan Taylor, who's now running in 2nd. So that really is helping Kaketso heading into that final feature race at Spa. And I'm glad we're racing at Spa, because the Spa 24 hours is coming up a little bit later. Dude, yes. I don't know where I'm going to be. I need another 5 TVs, because I've got British and Irish Lions against Box. We've got that silly little Formula 1 thing that's going on as well, and Spa 24 hours. Oh, I'm going to be a dead man walking tomorrow.
Yeah, dead man walking indeed tomorrow, because the racing action continues. I'm glad we're doing this on a Saturday. It gives us the Formula 1 to enjoy tomorrow. All that controversy coming to a head tomorrow in the Formula 1. And of course, many South African drivers representing us in Spa this weekend. But there will be one driver that will be representing us at the FIA Games, and that person could very well be our winner here, Kaketso Pilane. But Marius, as you mentioned before, the points are very, very tight, with very small differences in points as they race to the finish line there. Juan de Jager gets 3rd place, Dino gets 4th, but Kaketso takes the win. And there we see Jason Abschmeyer being the first of the ACC drivers across the line. They are your standings, folks, but we'll be right back after this with a final race, our feature race, which will take us through to see who will be our winner to represent South Africa at the FIA World Games. Of course, the MSA Showdown wouldn't be possible without Motorsport South Africa, Kyle Harvey 9-hour, and Coach Dave Academy. Folks, this is what your podium looks like. Vaguely familiar, I'm sure, because one name on the top of the rankings, Kaketso Pilane, not Stinky 33, whatever that means, is our first place winner and takes another win in our GT Sport finale, the MSA Showdown. I mean, Ewan Taylor has something to say about that in 2nd position. So does Juan de Jager, who finished 2nd in our previous heat. But going into this last race, Daniel, we've got a 40-minute feature race. Daniel Haynes, I think Kaketso must be going in with absolute confidence. He's looking around the room going, which one of you guys is finishing 2nd today?
Yeah, he's certainly got a bit of breathing room, but it's a little bit like a completely different discipline. We've had 2 sprint races. Now we go into something that involves probably 2 pit stops. There's a possibility of 1, probably 2 pit stops though. 40 minutes.
GT3 Mercedes-Benz now.
Totally. A different car, different track. You've got fuel usage and tyre usage where they were locked in the previous sprint. So it's very much a different discipline. However, I mean, that's got to feel good having those extra points in hand. I mean, He doesn't need to finish first, does he? It's not required of him.
But to finish first, you must first finish. And I think he's going to have to make sure he gets that car across the line no matter what. The calculations will be being made as the points come up for this last round. Now, Kaketso scores 13. Jean Jager only losing out 1 point there in the end for not getting second place. But, these guys are going to be doing calculations. A DNF would be catastrophic for any of these drivers, especially Kaketso. So they've really got to finish the next race and finish as high as possible as we wait for the points to get tallied up. And then we can work out where Kaketso needs to finish. But if he makes it into that first corner and starts to get a 5-6 second gap before the next pit stop, we might see ourselves the champion crown today.
Yeah, I think they've got, I've been speaking with the team, that there are definitely different strategies we'll see at play. They have to use the medium and the hard compound in Spa. So if we see anyone starting on the softs, they've committed to a 2-stop strategy. It is possible to get through that race with a single stopper. It's very interesting. I've got all the times and how much they lose going into the gap loss for the pit stops. And that they haven't really fully decided on their strategy yet. So we're looking out for anyone that starts on a soft tyre, 100%. Also, they have to run the hards, but they don't want to run it for very long. So if they go for a 2-stopper, they're only going to want to do 1 lap on the hards because you lose 2 seconds a lap. So that if they start on the hards, they might pit immediately, or they can finish with a 1-lap splash and dash. So it's really interesting for Spa. Feature race is going to bring a lot more about it than just the flat-out sprints that we've had so far.
Well, the confusion ensued the last time with the various different pit strategies. I'm hoping you can give us some clarity on that, Daniel, because at the last event, the drivers were pit stopping at various different ways and stages, and the lead and the deck was being shuffled all the time. So are we going to see the same here today? But Kaketso certainly needs to try and eke out a bit of a cushion for himself to try and make sure he scores maximum points. The feature race scores double points, 26 points for the winner, all the way down 22 for second, 20 for third. The difference in points at the moment, as we can see there, from first to third is 9 points. So that means that if Dean finishes first and Kaketso finishes fifth, then they'll be even. If Jean Jager, who's 8 points behind, finishes first and Kaketso finishes fourth, then they'll be even. So it will then still go to Kaketso for winning the most races. So let's put it this way. Kaketso needs to finish 6th and Jean Jager finish first for this to be a different result going into the finals. So
yes, it seems unlikely, doesn't it? We're going to probably need hardware failure or something catastrophic to try and stop Kaketso. But that all Jean Jager and Dean can do is think, I just got to put my head down, win this one. Don't worry about what happens to Kaketso. That's all you can do. It's not in their hands to win it, is it? But there is to try and get points, maximize their points.
So will there be factions forming here within the DMR team? My name is Ernest Page, and I'm reporting on the drama taking part in the DMR team at the moment. Jean and Dean on a separate line going, hey man, we need to take this guy out. I'm going to let you win it. Are they going to turn on each other? Are they going to race hard? Are the team orders going to kick in? I love this kind of drama, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next race. They was all saying there's no team orders, but we know that's not the case, Daniel.
I did get confirmation from Dean that the feeling was at this stage that it would be a battle between Dean and Kaketso. Obviously, Jean Jager's put a bit of a spanner in the works between those two. But Dean has told me that he's going to do separate strategy to Kaketso. So they're 100% going to go a different route at the start. So we're going to see one of them pitting early or something, and they're just going to see where they come out after the final pit stops. Definitely strategy is going to be key here.
Ernest, I was listening to your mathematical breakdown here, and the awesome thing is none of these guys, listening to what Daniel was saying, and we've seen how technical it gets when it gets to a feature race with strategy and fuel. Now they're 2 different tire compounds. The PC guys are going to struggle to come to terms with that. So for me, the worst place that Kaketso can finish is 6th. And I think even if he finishes in 6th, I think he's still good to go. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, he's done all of the hard work that he needed to do in race 1 and 2 in those sprint races, even though there are double points for play. And unfortunately for the other competitors, them not having good, clean races, like for Dean not getting second in both of those, Ewan obviously getting a good result in that last one, has really just helped Kaketso and given him that extra breathing space. I don't see our PC guys being able to live with the guys. So for me, I'm going to be bold. I know we speak about commentators' curses, but I just think Kaketso has done enough in this situation. And Daniel's right. It would have to be ESCOM or a major mechanical software issue.
We just hope that he didn't fix his brake pedal with a paper clip and some duct tape, because I hope, I mean, if you have a failure you make sure it's fixed for the final. So unless he's done a bit of a sort of a quick bush fix on it, yeah, hopefully it doesn't rear its head again.
He's going to cost himself a plane ticket to Europe if he hasn't fixed it properly. And I'm sure he's listening to us on the stream at the moment. Speaking of stream, guys, keep commenting on the stream. Keep checking back for information. Don't forget to subscribe and like the stream as well. We appreciate your feedback and your comments. We're just waiting for the races to join. We should be starting the server shortly, and we should be heading into our feature race, which is going to be much, much longer than our previous race. We're looking at 40 minutes in the GT3. This, of course, a much, much faster car as well. And I hate to say it, it's a car that the ACC guys are going to be very used to. But how much of a difference do you think that's going to make here, Daniel?
If anything, it'll probably make it harder, to be honest, won't it, for the ACC guys, to be fair, a faster car. I just hope that they
car that they're used to in the ACC season.
This is true, but it handles very differently. I think, like as Marius said, all the nuances of the game, as soon as you start throwing in the strategy, is going to be difficult. Whether they've had enough time to realise that, for example, the hards are exactly 2.7 seconds slower than the softs, like the GT Sport guys know already. That these are all things you need to factor into your pit stops. I mean, to give you the audience a bit of an understanding, the Dean was telling me that the strategy, they've got every single scenario worked out to the second. To the millimetre of a second. They know exactly how much a 2-stopper fuel takes, a 1-stopper, what a splash dash is. They know within 1/10 what each tyre works out as.
Because you have to. You absolutely have to. I entered a couple of 24-hour Gran Turismo races a couple of years ago, and it was a nightmarishly long affair. But also, you've got to factor in every possible permutation. And I think these guys have spent enough time on the sim to be able to do that. And just the time that it took the ACC guys to adapt to the game itself hasn't given them enough time. And plus you've got the benefits of a team, and in that team there's a couple of, probably let's say 2 or 3 propeller heads that are working on this problem all 100%. The time.
That's it. They can all take a tire each and go and work out and report back to the team. So it's just too many advantages for one group of guys over the other. So we're looking at the battle for the PC guys is really who finishes top out of Jason Absmar and Jordan Sherratt, that rivalry that was so strong throughout the Pro Series, and now moved on to a completely different sim, and it's the same 2 guys. So who's going to win out of those 2?
Shall we call that they're in the Silver Cup at the moment with the
Pro-Am Cup, yeah.
Well, as I have it, I mean, obviously the points that we're showing on there actually aren't correct then, because Jordan obviously didn't get. I don't think they've docked the points for him finishing with that 15-second penalty in Monza. So currently it's got him sitting above Jason. But the way I have it, I think Jason is leading that heading into the final round. So 100%, I think it's nice for us to look at that and say, let's talk about our champions in ACC while we look at who's going to represent South Africa from a PC perspective. So I mean, from a Gran Turismo perspective. So it's going to be an interesting one, and you guys are right. We were struggling as commentators getting into Gran Turismo and trying to understand the subtleties and just how much planning and prep and strategy they work out, because it's not something we see in ACC. And when you look at normal endurance type racing, they've got teams of guys sitting on the pit wall working out all those permutations, but these guys are doing it on the fly while they're going. So I think top 6 is going to be our Gran Turismo top 6, and it's going to be a battle with the PC guys for their top honors in Silver Cup.
Well, before we start, I'm looking at the stream here. Big shout out to some of our usual names on the stream there. We got Kendall Mawa, we've got Alaric Enslin in the mix there as well. Noor Hendricks, haven't seen that name in a while. And of course, we got Mr. 10 Seconds over here, and Joshua Null also commenting. Keep those comments coming, guys. Let's watch together as we wait for the feature race to start here at Spa-Francorchamps. And of course, mirroring what's happening this weekend in Belgium, we've got the 24 hours of Spa taking place with a lot of South African representation there, Marius.
Yeah, I was actually chatting to Jordan now. He's obviously come over from America, where he's been racing in a Lamborghini in their series that side, racing in a McLaren today, and just saying, listen, great car, awesome to drive. It's his birthday as well. So big shout out to Jordan Pepper on his birthday, saying obviously not running the full aero that the Audis and the Mercs and the rest of them have, but great car. Kelvin, obviously, huge disappointment.
He's awesome, man.
They were the fastest through everything. And then just ended up not getting to put a lap together in their one qualifying session with 2 red flags, and they're starting in 55th. So it's going to be a really long 24
but a long
hours.
race, it's still possible, isn't it? A long race for them.
You know what the
so
problem
quick.
though,
It's so quick.
But you know what the problem though is, when you get into that race, they're all running the same cars. So in the straight line,
They spread out.
It's actually very difficult to pass, because even a guy that isn't a Kelvin van der Linde can really make himself a flippin' moving chicane, So I don't think we're going to have that problem here. I think it's going to be 10 guys having a full crack at it. But look forward to the 24 hours later as well. It's going to be a great race. So hopefully it's going to be a good weekend for SA. Winning against the British and Irish Lions too.
Well, a good weekend for SA, because we'll be figuring out who will be representing us here today as we go to ads, and we'll be right back to sort that problem out.
I've seen wild, wild things, tricks upon the eye.
This is it, folks. This is it. This is the final race. And look at that car. Look at those flashing lights. Kuketso Pilani letting us know that he's on the front row of the grid. So does Juan de Jager. The rest of the boys now getting involved. Diamardino in third place. Taylor in fourth. Stephen in fifth. We got our man Jordan Shedid in sixth. Jason Ashmeyer seventh position, and Tariq in eighth place. The lights are about to go out, folks. This is the start of the finals of the MSA Showdown. No rolling start here. This is a standing start for GT races. Kuketso Pilani started. Kuketso Pilani started. Oh my God, he caused a huge problem at the back. Kuketso Pilani's on the start of the grid, standing absolutely still. 2 cars are stuck there. Oh my God, and this is exactly what we thought would not happen. Juan de Jager.
He fixed his brake, but his throttle's damaged now. What's going on there? This has changed everything.
This has changed everything. Juan de Jager now in the lead. Juan de Jager now leading off from Diamardino, and this is now between them. Juan de Jager only has to finish in front of Dino to be able to secure that position. The championship points are so close between the two of them, just 1 point between the two of them. Juan de Jager and Diamardino now. Taylor having a look down the inside as well. We've got that is
Jordan Shedid with the slowdown.
There with the slowdown once again. We've seen that too many times. I'm not too sure what exactly happened there, but it does look like he stalled it on the line. The steward's now getting involved as well.
You can't stall it on the line. That's the thing, you know. So for me, it's
we got a lobby glitch, guys. Looks like we got a lobby glitch.
I think it's got to be restarted, doesn't it?
It might have a restart.
Yeah.
We're waiting for an official.
Ernest, I do love you. He stalled on the start. These are things that we expect can happen, but not in sim world.
Not two of them on a 10-car grid.
So let's see what our officials decide to do. But that's the controversy that we didn't want. And like I said to you, Daniel, don't go and tempt fate. You said, oh, he ran away
Well,
with
his
it.
brake
was
works
it.
fine. It may
Can
be
we
his
just-
throttle pedal.
Can we
I'm not
just
sure.
blame- Oh, big sideways
John
mistake
Sherritt.
from John Sherritt once again getting a penalty. And can we just for once not blame this commentator? It's the other commentator.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't had one all season. I'm due one.
I'm also very puzzled by something else. I see Jordan's gone and lost it again in the back. I'm also very puzzled by something else. On that grid, Jason Abschmeyer finished the last race ahead of Jordan Sherritt. So how did he end up ahead of him on the start?
Yeah, I think there's some issues with that grid.
yeah.
Looking into it.
Geez, like it's very, very confusing because we're obviously trying to call things. I'm like, huh? How did that happen? But anyway, look, Jordan's not doing
You've got
himself
Luke
any
Addison
favours.
saying that he actually can't move his car. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some issue on this grid.
Yeah, look, the car luckily has been moved visually for us. So there it is. You actually saw a ghost of it. There it is. So they're definitely, and it looks like Koketsu's also still sitting there. So I'm sure this is going to be restarted. Koketsu looks like maybe he's got moving. I'm seeing one ghost car left behind
Oh
there.
my goodness.
But yeah, I mean, for us, I'd love them to make a decision because if two guys are sitting here, is Jordan sitting on the exit as well. So I'm sure Luke has left the room, which isn't a good sign. So I'm sure this is going to be restarted. If it'd be great if we could just make that call and save these guys the effort and just restart it.
Confirm a full race.
Yay.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Now, what it
Dude.
has done is some of the keen-eyed on the grid. There was a few guys that showed their hand as far as strategy because we saw the top three were on soft tires. So at least that does confirm. I mean, we were told that Dean and Koketsu would be on different strategies, but that for me is the same one. So whether someone's broken ranks and changed it at the last minute, but they've they've now got another opportunity to do something different again, haven't they?
I was about to say, now they can go and now that they've heard you, now they're going to go change that again. But
I think they will.
Look, I mean, I don't think guys are going to be playing games like that now. I think for them, they've kind of worked out that strategy and they're going to go run the race. So good decision by stewards to restart it. Yeah, I mean, these are sort of things that I suppose is the advantage. If that was a real race and something broke, well, tough. There you go. You know, suck it up. So that is the difference with sim racing, because if that was a real race now, there would have been the end of Koketsu and Luke's race. So at least
And if you're Koketsu and you've had a hardware failure in the semi-finals, you're ripping cables out of everywhere right now and putting them back in.
I am still shook. I'm still shook. And again, everybody knows I'm a sucker for this type of drama. I love it when things get dramatic in motorsport. But this is not what we were hoping for. Having said that, what an exciting start to the feature race, even if it means we have to restart again.
And confirmation from one of our stewards, actually, that the grid is not based off of the end of the last. It's their championship points, or the points that they've accumulated up until now, which is why I think we saw the switch around from Jordan Sherritt to Jason Abschmeyer.
So Jason Abschmeyer, Jordan Sherritt still in it to see who's the fastest ACC driver over here. Stefan Marker keeping everybody honest in 5th place. Ewan Taylor was looking very good out there. And Dean and Juan were fighting for 1st position at one stage, with Ewan Taylor keeping them honest all the way through. Koketsu Pilani, of course, a man out on his own at the moment, 8 points ahead of 2nd place. But
has Jordan Sherritt had his penalty served from the first race as far as points is going? I don't think he has. I don't think he should be ahead of Jason Abschmeyer.
No, I'm just chatting to Jonathan. The penalty is going to happen afterwards. But I mean, for us, okay, we kind of know
jump
information.
one grid spot.
Yeah, it's going to be discussed
Incident
afterwards.
report on Monday.
No, but I mean, for me, no, you know what? For me, it's like we've got the ability throughout the season. We've been dealing with stuff, especially in ACC, issuing penalties in race to get things sorted. So when it comes to the final championship side, it's nice to get to have that done as well. So
Yes.
we as commentators also know what we're talking about, and drivers know what the situation is. So at the moment, what you see on screen is correct, because the incident in Monza with Jordan is going to be looked at afterwards. But I mean, it's so
It doesn't
nice.
affect the winner, though. It doesn't affect the top 3, thankfully.
No,
And
it doesn't.
we
It
only have
doesn't.
one winner here today, so at least there aren't any long-lasting repercussions going into the future. It's always
Jordan's definitely got points to drop from Monza, hasn't he? 100%, because they've said 15 seconds already.
Well, apparently not, because they haven't looked at it anyway. Let's not get into that. For us, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many camera angles you want. One worked fine for me. That was not a pass. That was a push to pass. So it's just like, anyway. But cool. Like you're right, Ernest. It's not deciding the championship, but it is nice for us because within the race, we've already set this up. We've got 2 races. We've got the PC race versus the Gran Turismo Sport car. So it'll be interesting to see how that does pan out. But yeah, looking forward to the restart. Sure, Coquetzo must be going,
the relief from Coquetzo after 2 laps of nervousness of pulling cables and putting them back in again. He is.
Wow.
It's another opportunity.
That is exactly what we said is the only way he's going to lose. And I mean,
it can't happen again, can it?
Hopefully not. And in the words of our man Murray Walker, anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. So this is one of those situations, isn't it?
Well, that's an interesting call because, like I said, I mean, if this was racing for real and something like that happened, tough. You know, it is what it is. You stall on the line, you don't get off the line. They don't go, oh, please, sorry, I had an issue. But I obviously understand, we had 2 drivers that were having lobby issues. But, if that happens again, at what point do you say, well, sorry for you? Because we've seen last season Jordan having issues, remember, in a couple of races where he got kicked off mid-race and never got on, or load shedding and that type of stuff. So at the end of the day, those things, for me, then need to be factored into the racing.
I think in this instance, though, it's 20% of the field, isn't it? Really, we've got 2 cars that haven't been able to start. It's therefore 20% of the field that hasn't been able to go. And when you've got a car completely locked, I think it's a little bit different, isn't it? I think that it was the right call to restart, but I agree with you. You can't keep restarting, so we'll just have to see what happens here. Hopefully, we don't have a repeat of that. To be fair, it's not something I would expect in a console over a PC. I'd expect that sort of thing more on a PC, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Gran Turismo lobby has been iffy of late. I think it's one of the reasons is the servers aren't hosted in South Africa.
Right.
It's not easy to run, and these guys are very, very technical, very good at running these lobbies, but it's not easy to run these lobbies. And we have had some minor issues that could have been major had the guys not sorted them out. So this is one of those issues I think that you're going to get in a Gran Turismo lobby in any case.
Yeah, I'm not. Obviously, this is the first sort of major feature race, so it's not seen. But obviously, the admin staff will be getting it sorted as we speak. Bit more nerves to go on they will be sat there nervously in the background waiting before they have a second start. Standing starts are nervous enough until you have to do them multiple times, especially through Eau Rouge.
Yeah. Standing starts are my favorite, though. I've got to say, I love standing starts, and I'm glad that the guys are opting for that here today. It does make things quite interesting going into that first corner. And as you say, up through Eau Rouge, we've got 7 seconds to go. We just got the countdown now as we go into the final countdown once again for our feature race at Spa. And let's try that again, folks. Let's try that again as the guys hop into their GT3 cars. Make sure the car is in gear, Coquetzo. Make sure that the car's in gear, the engine's running, all systems checked. He's not flashing those lights now, so not so excited. I think he's just doing all these checks and sums. We can see the, as you pointed out earlier on, the tire compounds choices are quite interesting. As the lights go red now, finally for the final time this season, we're going green flag racing pretty soon. Coquetzo Pilani leads us off with Johnny Young in second place, Dino in third, Taylor in fourth place. Off they go. This time, no issues then for all big issues at the back there. Somebody stalled once again, and again, somebody's stalled with a couple of cars crashing into the back of them. Joan de Jager steals the lead,
though. One car stop, wasn't it? And it's like everyone went into the back of him.
Yeah, Joan de Jager steals the lead, though. So Joan de Jager in first place with Coquetzo in second, Dino in third. And Joan de Jager needs to finish way up the grid. What's going to happen next, though?
Well, that's got to be a restart again. But I mean, this is the point I'm trying to make. Like, it's at some point, you've also got to go racing. So if it's a server issue, yeah, we understand that. But if it's from an individual perspective, then
we've lost 4 cars now. Yeah, it's a real shame in a feature race.
So it's going to be red flag. We're going to restart it for sure. So it's quite frustrating.
This is like the 100 meter sprints at the Olympics, isn't it? With false starts. How long are we going to go? Do you get a warning, or what happens?
This could be an hour and a half feature race.
Someone needs to whip out. This is the part where somebody whips out the rule book and goes, "Okay, so what exactly do we do now?" All the drivers, they are getting a restart. We haven't had this issue before. Not this bad, Marius. It hasn't been like this at all.
With only 10 cars as well.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a pity though, because I think if someone joins us for the first time, they're going, "Oh, what a joke," you know. So don't let these little incidents detract from the good overall production in terms of what we normally do get to see. This is kind of a freak. I prefer blaming Escom for our issues, but this seems to be a server issue. But yeah, let's hopefully third time lucky. Listen, the good thing is the guys are getting to practice their starts, so that's not all bad.
Yeah, they've got to be pretty good at it now. But whilst we're waiting for them to join the server back on, let's just give what this feature race, what we'll expect. I'm told it's right on the line between a 17 and an 18 lap race. The feeling is maybe only one or two guys might possibly be quick enough to turn it into 18 laps. As we said previously, they have to run the medium and hard compound, 2 compulsory compounds, but the soft is available for them to take if they want to do a 2-stopper. Differences in lap times between the soft and the hard is about 3 seconds. What really caught me is actually that I would assume, coming from the PC side, that there would be a tyre degradation between soft and hards. I'm told that is not the case in GT Sport. They last 6 to 7 laps each, no matter what compound you're on.
Oh, that's silly.
Yeah, that is. That's sort of showing possibly the age of the sim. So the softs don't go off. The hards last exactly the same time. It's just they're 3 seconds slower. So they have less grip, but the actual life of the tyres are the same. So
yeah,
that's why.
What's the point?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but so you can run the softs for your full 7 laps, run the mediums for 7 laps, and then just pit and do 1 lap on the hards. It seems to be the strategy, or do 1 lap on the hards at the start, and then you finish on the mediums and softs. So it's a little bit. That was just interesting that you just make the wrong assumption. So that's definitely somewhere where the PC guys could really get that wrong. I mean,
Well,
I was
exactly.
assuming that the softs would just burn out quicker and the hards would last forever.
But
Yes.
Daniel, that's also why they are able to work it out to the 10th.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
they know that. So for me, that is something I'd like to see change, because if it was compound based in terms of your driving style, like it should be, like it normally is with any other tire, driver, right foot, what happens to the tire scenario, it'll really change that type of setup where you won't have those strategy calls. You'll actually be making them on the fly.
And I think that's a little bit how like ACC, and I think the GTS guys will admit that it's a little bit more of a simcade compared to a real simulation. But I mean, the game is 2016, so it's pretty old. It will be replaced next year, which probably will will bump these sort of things up. Other little nuances as well, like 100 liters of fuel goes into every single car into GT Sport. Doesn't matter if it's a Lotus 7 or a truck. It's 100 liters of fuel. It's just the amount that they burn off. So there's a few little things that I wasn't familiar with before, but got schooled a little bit from the GTS guys. So things to it. But yeah, those tire compounds is what was super interesting. So anyone that they've got to run the hards, but you lose 3 seconds and you don't gain anything from longevity. So you only want to run them for the least amount of time. So there will definitely be pit stops to look out for. Maybe some really early ones, or maybe a splash and dash at the end.
I'm really glad you brought it up, because I couldn't understand when you were talking earlier saying the guys might just do 1 lap, and I'm like, huh? What's the point?
Yeah, that is the reason, because the softs last just as long. Yeah.
Oh, it's like, well, there we go. All right, so thanks for clearing that up, because I mean, I think people, we would probably have been stuck in some little time lapse here going, huh, what the hell are we commentating on? What's going on? So at least that gives us clarity. So thanks for doing your homework, Daniel.
I hope one of the PC guys don't take the hards and think that they can do 18 laps on it, is what I'm majorly concerned about, because that's the sort of mistake that I would make going straight into GT Sport. But I think they've probably been helped enough. I think the GT Sport guys have been quite complimentary, and that they've been schooling some of the PC guys just to help them catch up to these little things that you wouldn't realise.
Well, that is one thing, Ernest, you and I have seen throughout the season, is such a cool vibe with the GT Sport guys. So what Daniel was saying there kind of really rings true. That they're gonna try and turn this into a really cool, fun event for everyone. So nice to hear them helping the guys like that.
Yeah, it's nice to see the guys playing nicely with each other. Speaking of playing nicely, the guys are commenting in the chat box over here. Oh, tensions are heating up because everybody wants to see what's happening, and they are insisting that the drivers aren't stalling on the line. I've been told that I shouldn't say that anymore, but I will keep saying that because that's what it looks like.
You just say what you see in commentary, guys. You say what you see.
Exactly. But it's very interesting to see how things are turning out. There needs to be restarts that need to happen. This does seem to be a GT Sport glitch. It's basically the auto start glitch by the looks of things, where the car pushes off the line as soon as the flag sort of lifts or the lights go green, and that's not working properly. So we might, if the guys don't do the full reset, we might see it the third time. So that's what we're busy doing now, is getting that full reset going, clearing the cache. Some drivers are restarting, etc. They will rejoin, and then we will hopefully all of us go racing.
Yeah, we want it now. We've had enough of a wait that we're keen to get started. As is Kaketso and Dean and Jon Jager, who actually have like a real good shout of winning this thing.
Yeah.
That their nerves will be culminating into something a little bit too much.
Can you imagine Jon Jager's mindset right now after pulling away and leading earlier on? He had it all to play for. He was going to win this thing. I mean, and then unfortunately the race gets restarted, and to reset mentally from that, I'm sure Marius, you can speak to this as well. I mean, that's a big deal. To get a start, and then all of a sudden the red flag comes out, and then your heart just sinks because you got to do it all over again.
Yeah, but we've all seen that happen. You get the best start of your life, and you open up this clear gap, and some twat goes and puts it in the wall and brings out a safety car, and you've got to go and restart the whole race, or it's red flagged or whatever it is. I mean, that sort of stuff happens. But I think these guys have spent so much time, like any pro racing driver, in these sort of scenarios. So you go into your start procedure, and I expect all of them to go through the exact same start procedure mentally for this race. But yeah, he did get a cracker start in that second one, and actually ended up coming out of the first turn leading. So he now knows what he needs to do. And it just adds a bit of spice to all of it. I just hope it doesn't add too much time, because there's some other motorsport we want to watch as well.
But I don't think anyone wants to win with an asterisk next to their name either, do they? They want to win it. They want to know that they've won it fairly. And anyone that plays this game may have had this before.
Well, fair is fair, and that's exactly what's about to happen. These guys are going to fairly square off, hopefully now for the last time this season, as we once again go to the start line to watch these GT3 cars. Kaketso seems to be in better spirits now, those lights flashing in front there. We've got Jon Jager in second place. As always, Dino still in third position for this start. So the guys are starting in the same format they started earlier on. Here we go, folks. The lights are about to go out. The drivers once again starting. Hopefully no stalls on the start. And
please, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that everybody gets off the line safely. Here we go, folks. The lights go green. Most of the cars are moving up. Oh no! And that is Dean. Dean stopped there this time.
We got two again.
Oh, goodness me! So what now? We're gonna have to speak to our officials and figure out how are we going to sort this out. As Kaketso goes off into the distance this time, but surely not
two
for much
cars
longer.
again. You can't. Yeah, once you've set a precedent, you got two cars just sat there now, haven't you? That's, again, 20%. I don't understand what's going on.
It actually looked like two more ended up going, and then
but that's
the
guys driving to the back of the. So we just got confirmation there might not be any more restarts.
That's absolute bollocks, because for me now, if you've made this precedent and you say we're doing restarts, then at some point what? So if it's server issue, then I don't know how you make that call.
Well, who have we lost? We've lost Dean and we've lost Jon Jager, the two guys that could actually put up a fight against Kaketso for the win.
It's nonsense. You know what I mean? If you're kind of making the call that this is how it works, and you're not going to restart it because it's a server issue, then but I mean, we're running a lot longer before we stop the race at this point already. So very interesting to see what they decide to do. But I just hope it doesn't end up being a 38 and 36 second race from here on in, because it just doesn't seem right.
Well,
Kaketso in the lead, followed by Ewan Taylor now, isn't it, in second place?
Yes, with Luke Addison in third place.
Suddenly got a PC guy on the podium. Let's leave it going.
Yes. But we haven't seen them be competitive earlier on at all. So I would very much like to see that three battle take place. But we'll wait and see. We're waiting for that official result.
Well, you can see the controversy already. No more restarts being put up there, and people logging out of the lobby and deciding not to continue racing. So, I know I'm meant to be super positive. Yeah, it's flipping amazing. But, I'm an impartial commentator who calls what I see. So, for me, I think this sucks. because then you should have made that call right in the very beginning, or continue doing this until all of us do get off the line and we get into a race, because there's some people that are now seriously compromised. So this just doesn't work well, does it?
Yeah, Jason Ashmeyer 11 seconds down in 5th position there. Luke Addison, the first of our PC guys, but really things have shaken up quite a bit with 37 minutes to go. Oh man, this is
Yeah, we are restarting. You haven't got a choice, have you? You've got to.
You've got to. And unfortunate that we've now delayed the start, but these things happen in any sport. You know, things get delayed. We've got another restart that's going to happen. Folks, this will be the last restart. Everybody's got to reset their consoles. This will be the last restart. So whatever happens now, if you stall your car on the start line, that's it.
It's such a shame, though, isn't it? We were desperate to see a strong feature race. It's really frustrating when you have technical difficulties like this. All we can do is just reset everything, Control-Alt-Delete, and start again. And yeah, fingers crossed. Surely 10 cars can get off the line. You said you've been all right all season.
Yes, there've been no issues like this all season. So
Yeah,
I'm not
we
quite
also-
sure what.
Well, we also haven't had standing starts. So every race that we've commentated on has been rolling starts. So,
Right.
you know, and what the rolling start does, it gives you that unfair gap. So to turn this into a proper race, we're going standing start. So I don't know what's changed between our
We're
two
all right with
sprint
standing
races.
starts in the sprints and the
100%.
and the feature
100%.
race last semi-final.
Yeah.
I'd love to get some technical feedback from our producer as to what exactly is causing the problem here. And
Well, we
if that
don't host
can
the
get
servers
sorted.
like we do for ACC, so there
Exactly.
really is nothing, literally nothing ATK can actually do about it apart from just restart and hopefully they all get away.
But I know, I mean, I want to apologize if I seem like I'm being hardcore in terms of you have to and it's not right and not fair. But I mean, for me, if that is a problem, then I'm kind of the guy that says, well, let's just keep going until everyone gets off the line, because you know you can't go and decide a championship like that when people are in with a shout. So that's my vibe. If this is something that is out of the driver's control, there's nothing that he's done wrong, then you've got to keep going until everyone starts. So
I mean, we
let's
really
just
need
hope
the
it
top
works now.
three. We need the top three off the line at least, don't we? I mean, that's absolutely critical because that realistically, or that we need the top 5 GTS guys because theoretically they're probably the only ones that mathematically they can even actually win this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we want Keketso, Jondiaga, and Dean to get off.
Yes, there needs to be
start
a
line.
track race where we've got a decisive winner between the three of those, because that's what we came here to see today.
We
To
don't
get
want any
a decisive
dispute that the
winner.
person that we send away to represent South Africa did not earn it, quite rightly, and that's what, and they don't want that either.
Yeah, so one of the comments in the stream is do a rolling start. What are our thoughts on that one, guys? Yeah, Wayne Riddell's going to also jump in here and he's going to give us that technical information. Wayne Riddell, of course, our lead steward. Wayne, what are your thoughts on what's going on here?
Hi guys, yeah, a bit of a challenge for all of us back end, but just to put everyone's minds at ease on the commentating side, we're faced with a force majeure situation. What has happened is that for some reason the software from a hosting perspective is glitching with somebody's PC, one of the 10 drivers' PC, and it's causing a conflict. And the conflict is not one specific person, so we're not able to isolate. So what we've done now is we're doing what we call a hard reset. We've told everybody to shut down, boot up and reset. So it's going to take a little bit longer, but we're hoping that if there's any glitches, like you would on a computer blue screen, a total reset will fix that.
Yeah,
It's
good call.
it's not an ideal situation, but we think it's the fairest of situations.
What
Because
about
we really want the best guy to be representing our country.
Of
100%.
course. What about a rolling start? How close are we to potentially having a rolling start situation here today?
We're not there yet. Right now, I just wanted to, instead of us trying to chase our tails, we just instructed everybody on a hard reset. We believe that could solve the problem.
Wayne, just clarity now. So we go through the start procedure again. It happens again. Then what happens? Like Ern was saying, do you then go onto a rolling start?
Yeah, we will then look at a rolling start as an
Okay,
option.
good.
But
Okay,
I apologize. It's beyond everyone's control.
No. Wayne,
We absolutely think that's the right call as a hard reset because we really want to see a race.
I agree with
Yeah.
you totally.
At least the first 3 rows get off the grid properly. And
it's the right call.
Yeah, I think so too. So
You know,
sorry
and
about
get-
that, guys, but yeah.
no. At least we know. That's my thing. It's like you've got to, you know, until you've got a solution. Now we know there's a solution. Let's try it again. Hard reset doesn't work. Then at least you've got a plan B. But we're going to go racing. We're going to go racing fairly.
We want to get a race result, and we want it to be fair. We don't want someone getting there like the Jamaican bobsleigh team coming off the sidelines. we want the best of the best to be there.
Oh,
They
make a
were-
good
they
film
were
though,
the
at the
best,
Olympics.
though.
The South African team that pitched up with an egg.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah,
guys, thanks. Sir.
I don't think our steward saw that movie because in the hearts and minds of the kids that watched it back then, the Jamaicans were the best.
Exactly. We're going to send up a complete a beginner to the FIA World Championship, and everyone will love him and make him a star.
But this is the stuff that happens in competitive sports. I mean, you've got issues like this. You've got simple issues like the light in the hall isn't working properly, or whatever the case may be. We've all been to sporting events where things have been delayed by situations out of our control, and this is one of those situations. Hopefully we'll be able to sort this out. Unfortunately, Gran Turismo's hosting setup isn't the best in the world. We know this, but our guys are working on it tirelessly now to try and make sure that we can get this championship concluded in the most fair of ways.
Yeah, it's. I suppose I'm laughing here because I mean that is the big difference is that you've got to kind of throw the rule book out of the window. With my thinking is real racing. You guys, like Daniel in particular, comes from the online community, so things are just so different because these are situations you would never ever have happen in the real racing world. But that is why we've got to make these calls, and the calls are not always the easiest ones. Means we've got to sit and talk nonsense for a lot longer.
Oh, yes.
but at the end of the day, you're giving everyone a fair chance at it. So those are the subtle
advantage. It's the advantage we can do in the sim world, though, isn't it? You can't exactly just instantly reset all the cars back to the grid and exactly how they were in the real life, can you? Whereas we can do that here. So I'm sure if it was a possibility in real world, that they might use it a little bit more.
Yeah, Max would have liked that, I'm sure, 2 weeks ago at Silverstone. Just a quick poof, reboot, and there's on the line. That would have been interesting then,
Yeah, but that was never a red flag situation, was it, Merritt?
Tell you what,
Hey, all of a sudden, it's not that difficult for us to fill time.
Exactly.
there's plenty space on the outside of Cops, okay? Plenty space.
That's a runway there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the players are loading into the game. They've reset their consoles. They're getting themselves back into the server. It's not going to be long, guys. Just stick with us just a little bit longer. We want to see who's going to represent South Africa as the leading driver in GT Sport.
Yeah, indeed, and that's exactly what's at stake here. We are just talking about this early on. That is what's at stake here. It's not just a plane ticket. It's the officially wearing the green and gold in some ways. And you're not officially a South African athlete, but you are wearing the green and gold representing us at the 2021 FIA Motorsport Games in the Esports Cup, which is becoming a big deal. So I think this
cool.
is
It's so cool, isn't it? For these guys, that's massive. I think that really must be.
This was one of the things we always hoped for in the early days of sim racing, that it would get to this point, and here we are right now. So, I mean, I want to see a fair race. I want to see those three guys going head to head, but I do think Keketsa is going to be the guy that's going to be taking this one.
Yeah, he gets a plane ticket and a jab.
That's quarantine, eh?
No, it's just great. It's crazy because I mean we meant to be at the FIA World Games with the drifting, doing commentary there, but I'm not too sure that's going to work out for me anymore. Because anyway, let's leave jab politics out of it. But I mean that's the crazy reality that you're sitting with now. So yeah, let's get to the race. Let's get to crowning our champion. But Ernest, you're right. I mean, what an opportunity to go and represent your country, and it's nice that we're kind of doing this. I mentioned it earlier at a time when our athletes are doing what they do in the Olympic Games, and what an honor, so this is seriously validating sim racing, and what a great opportunity for us as commentators to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, I just got a comment in the stream over here. Does the lead driver even have a passport? Well, since he came to the top 24 and won that, I'm sure he's frantically queuing at Home Affairs now.
Oh, that's not going to be good. Home Affairs is not exactly renowned for its speediness, is it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, but you know what the nice thing is, when you're going to represent in events like this, then
Yes.
yeah,
I get pushed
doors to open,
Doors
yeah,
open,
through FIA
indeed.
and that type of stuff. So yeah, there'll be no stress in terms of. I'd be more worried about having to get a needle, but yeah, and less worried about the passport. But that's fine.
Knock, 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 knock.
Here we
Hello.
go.
Sorry,
Steer is
interrupting you.
back. I
So
steer is back.
interrupting you, two things. One, yes, we're going with a hard reset now. Rolling start is an option. So if this start does not work, they're going to just change the settings and we're going to go into a rolling start. So
Okay.
Love
that's
you,
fair.
Wayne.
it is official.
Love you,
that's what it is. And then on the sideline, the National Department of Sports and Recreation is also backing this. So if Koketsu does not have a passport, they have ways and means of fast tracking that process for the young man. So
I love it. I love it.
good news.
And I
good
wonder
news.
whether he's had his jab or well, he's not.
Well,
He's 17.
we don't
Of course
know.
he hasn't.
No,
No, he hasn't.
of course he hasn't. He's at
Sorry,
school.
I'm revealing
Yeah.
my age now, aren't I? Because
Yeah,
I had my
no.
jab last week.
Okay, thanks guys. Just thought I'd bring you up to speed.
Thank you for that. That's awesome feedback. Yeah, look, there are ways and means. Like sometimes you go through the right channels to get your passport, and other times you don't have to. That's South Africa for you. But anyway, that's awesome news. Let's go.
That could be another bonus of winning this thing.
It's a South African way. That's how we do things over here.
Make a plan. We make a plan.
We do.
But I love the way we're talking like Ketzel's got it done. I mean, I know in our hearts of hearts we're kind of saying he's shown the pace that he probably is the one that has one hand on the trophy for sure. But yeah, we saw some solid racing from Joan de Jager and Ewan Taylor in that last round. Sprint race in Barcelona had a great result, finishing in second there as well. Obviously, Dino here, I don't think he's going to be too happy at this stage because things haven't quite gone his way, but everyone's still in with a shout. So that really is going to be what we want to see unfold here. And as Daniel was explaining to all of us so beautifully earlier, just in terms of the tires, that the guys are going to have to do pit stops. They've got to run on different compounds. The compounds only kill lap time. They don't actually have any tire wear associated with them. So a lot of strategy at play. So don't expect to see any of the PC guys running in the top 5.
Koketso's not touching the money, let's be sure. I mean, he's got multiple ways he could mess this up, hasn't he? Really, I don't want to be negative, but it is in sim racing. You never get too sure because you can make a mistake at any point that could cost you this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, though. I mean, it takes one little tiny mistake, and then that's it. And we saw it happen early on. How quickly, because the grid is so fast, you fall back, and all of a sudden you're right at the back of the field. So one mistake at the start could see him all the way back, but 6th place or 5th place or thereabouts is where he absolutely has to be in order to stand a chance to get that plane ticket and get that jab and get that passport sorted out.
Yeah, you see, it's little things that you start thinking about now that if I was at a racetrack now, I would never be thinking about, like, did I load enough electricity credits? You know, like, you don't think about that when you arrive at a race.
Can you imagine?
Like, he's doing that now going, oh my word, did I?
Now you've mentioned it, he's just jumped off his rig and ran to his meter.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
No,
It's such a different world. Yeah, such a different world. Anyway, it's good to have a laugh and keep it all light because it's about to get serious.
Well, someone we haven't mentioned is Leslie Oliphant there in 10th position. Also very, very fast on ACC. He's going to be in the mix as well today as we get ready to start things off at Spa. Leslie Oliphant, of course, one of our very, very fast ACC drivers. Unfortunately, his name isn't on the screen as him is on as an ATK driver. But yeah, Leslie Oliphant also unfortunately going under the radar today due to the fact that this isn't his usual playground.
No, but fair play for pitching up on something you're not familiar with. Yeah, no one wants to be last, do they? Let's be honest. They're not. They've gained their spot here. And as we said before, the PC guys came in with absolutely nothing to lose. They're just here to have a bit of fun, really, and try and beat each other. And we've seen plenty of that.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, what you've said there is spot on. You must remember he's got his place here because he is the top. He's in the top 5 in terms of the best ACC racers in South Africa. So, yeah, we mustn't forget that because you look at this, you think, oh my word, and you forget that they come from different platforms, and it is. It's a big step up for them. But my word, they've kept us entertained with some great racing.
Well, hopefully we'll have some more great racing. Just waiting to find out how many minutes out we are from our producer, but we should be starting pretty shortly. All the drivers have restarted their boxes and their PlayStations at least, and hopefully this will sort the issue out. Technical issues with drivers are currently taking place, but there are contingency plans. We can always change hosts. We can also do a rolling start. So there are contingency plans to make sure we get the best. I know some people are saying in the comment, just send so-and-so or just send so-and-so. But the fact of the matter is we need a conclusive leader. We need or at least a conclusive winner at the end of all of this, because it's been a long journey up until this point, hasn't it?
We're not even halfway as far as race distance goes, have we? This is a 40-minute race. We've had two little 15-minute sprints. So we want to see the result. I don't think anyone can go without knowing the result of this race. It's that important. There's so much on the line here. It's double points for a reason. There's a lot more involved with winning this one.
Well, here's an idea. Wouldn't it be nice now, seeing as we've discussed how, because of how the tyre situation works with no tyre wear and obviously the massive advantage for the GTS guys, maybe because we've had these failed starts, maybe it just becomes a 25-minute race.
I think once we get off the line, though, we shouldn't have an issue, should we? But yeah.
No, but I mean, it'd be actually quite nice to go and change that, because then their calculations out the window. You know, then they really are coming into a feature race with no planning, because I mean, you can't keep sticking 40 minutes, because hopefully we're not going to be at midnight still waiting for 40 minutes, but we do have some solutions. So I'm glad that our officials are on it. I know all the clever guys, that doesn't include me, are working behind the scenes to make sure things do happen. But be quite an interesting little turn up. You know, there are other ways of doing things. Reduce the
bear a
race
thought
time.
for the technical department in the background,
Oh,
because
my
those
goodness.
guys are sweating right now. It's hard. We just sit here, just talk rubbish, but those guys have actually got to get it going.
Yeah.
Well, there you have the list of names once again from PC. Aceto Costa Competizione, Jordan Shedder, Jason Amschma, Leslie Oliphant, Tarek Adam, and our wildcard Luke Addison, who also hasn't done too badly today. From the GT Sports side, Dean Norkay, Jean de Jager, Koketso, Stefan, and Corne Esthuizen. And one name that I do feel is missing from that is DKP, who has performed exceptionally well all season, only to fall out in the top 24, unfortunately. But that's how this thing goes.
But hang on, that's also wrong, because Corne Esthuizen isn't actually. So, you know, we've got Stephen Mocker, Koketso, Joan de Jager, Ewan Taylor,
dropped out, didn't he?
and Dean Norkay.
Ewan Taylor's the other one.
Yeah, so that's and Ewan Taylor, look at that great race result in Barcelona, the last race we saw, we finished second. So yeah, that is not correct. So Corne isn't here, but we mentioned it earlier, and I think Daniel, you kind of maybe built him up. Luke Addison obviously was our wild card through Aceto Corsa, and he's had a lot of experience in GT Sport. We almost expected a lot more of him. He seemed a better settled driver in Barcelona, but really did struggle at the first race in Monza.
He was the driver that the GT Sport guys were really concerned about. They were fully expecting him to be right up in the mix. Probably when he left GT Sport, apparently his lap times were right up there. Dean was thinking, cool, he could almost match I wouldn't be surprised if he matched my times. So obviously his time away in ACC has not done him any favours as far as GT Sport's concerned. He's not quite been there.
And also little things, I know that'll bug Jason Abschmeyer, but the way we've listed names, obviously he was our champion. So it was him sitting at the top spot with Jordan Sherritt, and then Leslie Oliphant, Tariq Adams, and Luke Addison bringing up the fifth place. So those were fast guys, and that's been a really fun little battle that's been unfolding between Jason and Jordan. And we actually mentioned it earlier that, you know, at the end of the day, Jason might feel like this is the opportunity to really prove once and for all that he is the best, because Jordan didn't compete in that last round. Jason obviously went on to win the championship. So I think there's proper gloves off stuff here, and we did see that incident in Monza, which the officials are having a look at. So what I think
the rivalry between Jordan and Jason would be big if we were doing Micro Machines or Mario Kart, or you pick absolutely any game. Those two, they're just not going to give in, are they? They're there to beat each other. That's what they're there for.
But I mean, tell me who isn't? You know, if you're doing this type of thing and you're not competitive, then sorry, dude, you're in the wrong category. So that's what we like to see. Everyone here wants to win. And you said it so nicely. No one wants to finish last. But I mean, Leslie Oliphant isn't finishing last. You know, he's top 5 in terms of ACC, as decided in our championship throughout the season with MSA. So nice to have those guys here, and it has looked like they've had a flipping cracker over time, because as we said, you can have a lot more fun in GT Sport. There is that semi-arcade feel to it, I suppose. We saw them really going door to door, stuff that they wouldn't necessarily get to do in a Assetto Corsa. And like we've spoken many times about how crucial setup is in a Assetto Corsa, there are those subtleties, so if we had to take the GT Sport guys and put them into a Assetto Corsa, equally they would struggle, and you'd see this leaderboard flipped on its head completely, because it's totally different. But the reason we're running GT Sport is because that is what the FIA has backed in terms of the World Games. So we do need to make sure the person we're sending over there is the person strongest in terms of representing SA, and that's what we're hoping to find out once all of our drivers log in finally, and we can go racing in our feature race at Spa. My word.
Yeah, the feature race that hasn't yet featured, but hopefully will feature pretty soon.
Nice.
Jason Ashmeyer's internet's just gone down, so we're waiting on him. But that does seem to be the last driver. Welcome to Africa. That does seem to be the last driver that is trying to get in. Having said that, I've got a friend of mine in Germany who says that the German internet is also up and down, but we're continuing without Jason Ashmeyer by the looks of things, unfortunately, and we're going to do a rolling start as well. So Jason Ashmeyer's out, we got a rolling start. Hopefully this changes things, and we are about to go racing. I know I'm disappointed too. I was really looking forward to see what he would do in this final heat, even if just for the bragging rights of having beaten Jordan Sherritt, or at least competed nobly against Jordan Sherritt, but that does not seem to be the case right now.
No, that's a real shame. Yeah, we're gonna miss that. Also, just looking at the chat, we want to give Luke Addison a little bit of a break. It has come out that he's using a controller. So
oh my goodness,
my word, that explains quite a bit. So yeah, Luke Addison in his prime apparently would be right up there in GT Sport, but he's trying his luck with a controller. So maybe he had a problem with his controller, but we've been told on stream that someone knows him, that they're claiming he's on a controller anyway. Maybe that's a good way of a good excuse, but I would like to take his word for it. And looks like we've got cars going off already.
Jeez, can I make a suggestion? I think we just stick to Sunday. Let's go racing Sunday again.
So race on Sunday, sell on Monday, and something doesn't seem to be working here. And Stinky goes off all on his own. The guys are doing donuts in the background there. I'm not quite sure what exactly is happening here. That is Jordan Sherritt just doing circles at the back there. Hopefully it's not him
I can't
doing
actually
the circles.
explain what's going on. I mean, I don't know the game that well, but I mean, this seems bizarre.
This is very bizarre. We got a big gap there by Kuketso in the lead. Juan de Jager right behind him and Dino right behind him. So these are your top three guys in the top three. But the rest of the drivers just aren't in it at the moment. There seems to be some technical issues there. We await our steward's feedback once again. Taylor Huey is out of the room as well. And this is just an absolute disaster here for this version of the final. Of course, we can restart again, but there's not supposed to be any more restarts after this. We wait for an official line there from our technical directors.
Obviously, the leaders have actually got off, though, haven't they? So we've got Kuketso is leading, and then we've got Jean de Jager and then Dean and behind in third position, as they were. So the
we
ones
did say
that are
this
actually...
is what we wanted, but not like this.
No,
not quite
not
like
all.
this, though. Yeah. So far the procession is in play with DMR, with Kuketso in first place, Jean de Jager from Team DNR in second, Dino in third, SMP Pro in fourth place. But there we go. Restarting once again. And what an absolute disaster. Another restart, folks, as we head into the finals once again.
What can you say at this point that we haven't already said before? I mean, that's the problem.
Sunday is good. What are you doing tomorrow?
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
I'm all for Sunday. I think it'll be amazing. I think because it's like at the end of the day, you want to see a cracker race, and it just, the whole product's so professional in terms of how the whole season's run and what's gone on. And
it's really unfortunate. The very last race of the season, you have this sort of issue.
Yeah, it's just like the technical gurus are kind of conspiring against us at this stage. So I'm not too sure what the decision is going to be here, but Yeah, it's a real pity because I think now it really does mess with the competitors' minds too, because they're going, is this happening? Isn't it happening? What's the story? Oh, okay, we're into it. So I think all that build up that we've had after 2 fantastic sprint rounds has just kind of fallen a little bit flat now because the guys don't know what's going on either.
Yeah, I think we're all sat here just hoping and waiting for a race. But at this point, I'm not 100% sure what to suggest. Really, it's
Well, I think
But
what we
unknown.
do, I think what we can do, Daniel, we can talk about other motorsporting things.
oh, we're not going to get into our own little stewards incident.
No. I haven't been following what's been happening this week heading into Hungaroring, but apparently
It's pretty even, I think. Obviously, it's a massively strong track for Mercedes. Was it 8 times winner there, Lewis? I
Yeah.
think if he wins again, it would actually be record breaking for any driver to win 9 times at the same circuit. It's never happened before.
Yeah, because it did seem like they were on the back foot with Red Bull going into it. But I mean, listen, that's what happens on a Saturday. We'll see what happens on a Sunday. We're going to take a short ad break. When we come back, hopefully we're back with our feature race. Hopefully we've got rid of all the bugs and glitches, and hopefully we can crown a champion.
I've seen wild, wild things, tricks upon the
Marius, you asked the right question. There are the cars on track yet. I myself am waiting for this moment to transpire. We've got lots happening on the calendar in motorsport today. Obviously, this is very important, but we need to kick this thing off now. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to watch some racing.
Yeah, the thing is, I want to go racing. I want to go watch other racing as well. But the thing is, we've put such a red hot product together the whole season. And if anybody arrives now and watches this, they're going to think, oh, flip, an amateur hour. And that's the thing. It's got nothing to do with the production team. It's got nothing to do with the technical team. It's just a glitch, apparently, and apparently it's something that happens with Gran Turismo. So maybe the guys that play GTS are a lot more used to this. For us that have done most of our commentary on a set of courses, it's not something we're used to seeing at all. So just take nothing away from our team that puts this whole thing together. This is not familiar territory for us at all. So hopefully it is done and dusted now. We can get this race underway. Because I know the drivers for them as well. This starts becoming annoying. They want to keep that energy, keep that sharpness, and get into our feature race at Spa. Because there's a champion that we want to crown. There's somebody we want to put on an aeroplane and send to France in October. So, who's it going to be? Well, hopefully, we'll find out now.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, we might have looks like we're going into a rolling start for this one. So not ideal with regard to that, but certainly a way to sort this problem out. I want to see some racing, and we want to see our champion get crowned, and we also want to see a conclusive winner to that. Of course, that would be between the drivers that have something to say about this, Kaketso Pilani, Joan de Jager, and Dean Norquet at the moment. I don't know, Daniel, if you've run out of things to say yet, but any comments from your side as to what we can expect going into this race here today?
Well, if we do a rolling start, I don't think drivers are going to be too upset with that. It's not. If it was the sprint race again, then obviously they would be. But here we're in a situation where you've got pit stop strategy at play. It doesn't really take away from it, so that's fine. If it gets us off the line, I'm for whatever gets us off the line at this point. So we just 100%. Want 10 cars going down into Eau Rouge all together. But even if there's a gap between them, it doesn't matter at this point. Let's just get it off. And there's with 40 minutes and 2 pit stops. It doesn't really make much difference, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, we saw the pandemonium happening on the start line earlier. We simply can't have that again. And I mean, I'm not quite sure what the plan is if it does happen again, but hopefully that won't be the case after this next restart in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, we're looking at our drivers that have made it through here. So if you are just joining us, we had 2 sprint races. First one at Monza, then on to Barcelona, and now we're heading to Spa. Just a correction, obviously, there we did mention this earlier with Cornet Estreisen, obviously not taking his position here today, and Joan de Jager is there, but it was Ewan Taylor that's obviously done a cracker job, and he's been racing in place of Cornet. We look at our results from race 1 that happened at Monza, that 15-minute sprint race. Kaketso did a cracker, put it on pole, and then literally led from flag to flag to score maximum points in that. There was that incident that I think Daniel, Ernest, and myself all kind of pretty unanimous that Jordan's going to be under some serious scrutiny and might find that result being changed when he actually put a pretty aggressive bash past to get past Jason Abschmeyer and actually knocked him out wide through, I think it was through Lesmo 1. So I'm sure that's going to affect their results. And that was quite a nice battle between the two of them, with Jason and Jordan looking for top honours from a PC perspective. Because to be fair, we didn't really expect them to be in with a shout in terms of taking on the GTS guys. But yeah, good race.
Good racing all round the entire season, competitive racing, and these guys have been competitive all the time. We got the race 2 results on screen at the moment here. Kaketso Pilani, the one guy that kind of just came out of nowhere, but when he did come in, word around the campfire was that this kid was always going to be fast, and he has beaten some of the competition in previous other versions of other championships. So he certainly has been someone to watch, but no one saw this coming, certainly not me. And it's always interesting when you've got a wild card that just comes through to win the whole thing. I mean, that's not normal.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose for us, it's so difficult. In normal racing, if we were sitting and commentating on, like we do, the Kyalami 9-hour stuff, you know the guys, you can pull up all the fact files on them. But for me in particular, as a commentator who's not involved in the sim community, I don't know his credentials. I don't know what he's done, but he could very well be a superstar within his gaming community. So he took us all by surprise because none of us really had heard of him or knew what his credentials were heading into that semi-final 2 weeks ago. But boy, do we know his name now, So he went on and did the business again in that second race at Barcelona. And what was interesting there as well, obviously Dean Nokia finishing in fourth, and it was Ewan Taylor that had a solid race result there, finishing in second with Jean de Jager in third. So that mixed things up. And all that did was it just helped Koketso open up that little gap heading into the final race. So, for us, we don't expect our set of Corsa guys to be battling in that top 5. If they do, that'll be flipping fantastic. So Koketso really does have one hand on that champion trophy as far as I'm concerned. But we have seen strange things do happen. We've seen it happen 4 or 5 times if you try to get the race restarted. But yeah, I do think he's in with a good shout to book that seat at the FIA World Games.
Yeah, but can you imagine the nerves now sitting on the start line? I mean, you've done a couple of laps, Daniel Haynes. I mean, what do you think these guys are going through now as they sit on the start line once again for the fourth? Is this the fourth restart? I think it is.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I'm trying to think back. I did the Daytona 24-hour in iRacing in February this year, and iRacing had a nightmare with servers as well, and we had a 1-hour delay before the start of that race. I was doing qualifying. And it's really difficult. You psych yourself up for the start, and then it doesn't happen. Then you start getting a bit miffed off, to be quite honest, because you're like, what is going on? What's going on? iRacing actually paid every participant a refund in content just because they realised it was such an issue. Eventually, once you get going, you very quickly put out your mind and you go. But I still can't imagine with the amount of what's at stake here for this particular race. So you got to try and somehow keep your head, keep cool, till eventually you do get off that line.
Yeah, Jean de Jager, of course, one of the men chasing down Koketso. And again, from his perspective, he's had a mixed bag of emotions going into this final, because 1 minute he was out, next minute he was in, 1 minute he was leading, next minute he was second, third. I mean, those two guys just behind Koketso are in and have been in for an incredible rollercoaster ride, because that misstart, the second one where Koketso, or at least the first one where Koketso didn't start, that was their opportunity there to win this whole thing.
Yeah, it's just listening to what Daniel was saying now and getting your mojo as a driver. And I suppose that's the big difference, because these guys, if I was sitting in my race car now, I'd have my mechanics and they'd be worrying about all that stuff. And I could really just focus on what I needed to do as a driver. But yeah, you are your mechanic in terms of rebooting, replay. So you doing all of that sort of stuff as well. And then suddenly it's like, okay, let's go race. And you don't have, for normal racing driver, you've got 15 minutes pre-race build up, and you go and you get into your car, you strap yourself in. They don't have that. They're busy frantically trying to get their servers rebooted and this to work and that to work. So it is a little bit different, and I respect them for that. To get into the zone that quickly says something. But I think these guys spend so much time in these communities doing these races, it's very easy for them to get back in the zone. So I just hope we can get in the zone of going racing, because for us as commentators, we want to give you a good race.
Yeah, exactly. So all those guys watching the live stream over there, we still have pretty much the same numbers as early on. So the guys are sticking around, and I see a couple of familiar names over there. Stigonators in the mix, the Jagers in the mix there as well. Anthony Wilson also there, guys. Tsepo Ledwaba. So guys, stick around. We're hopefully going to be starting very soon. I'm going to see if I can get us an update from our producer as to what exactly is the current state of affairs. But yeah, we are working on this tirelessly. And as Marius pointed out earlier, the production team over here, unfortunately doesn't run these servers like we do with ACC, which has up until now run pretty flawlessly. Unfortunately, this is out of our production crew's hands, but they are doing the best that they can to bring you guys the best racing that we can. We're going with 6 cars at this stage. We've got 6 cars on the start line. So these are the guys that have made it through to the finals. And hopefully things can get going with these 6 drivers.
Obviously, there's only really 3 or 4 drivers that actually have, at this stage, a chance of winning this thing. So here we go into the race server. We're only interested, as far as the championship is concerned, in the top sort of 4 drivers here. So surely now we can get off the line.
Surely we can. 6 drivers to go. We've got the young hotshot on the first row of the grid there. Next to him, Jean de Jager in second place, Dino in third, Taylor in fourth. Off they go once again. The lights are about to go out. The top 3 drivers are the one you want to be looking at. Kaketso there is going to lead us off. The lights go green.
Yes.
Yes, they do. All
We're
6
off.
are off. Can you believe that? Kaketso loses out. Jean de Jager
Oh,
gets
wow.
the lead. Jean de Jager takes the lead. Kaketso slips into second place. There's a bit of a touch further back, but so far it looks like Jean de Jager has snuck off into the lead. Dino in third place. Is Stephen Mocker in fourth there. It's a DMR affair all the way through, and that looks like Leslie Oliphant in 6th position.
Wow, we're finally off, and I mean, it's not the start that Kaketso wanted, but he's in, and he's in with a shout, and he's really, really run out the back of Taylor at the front, so he's still there, but he doesn't need to finish first. We've got to slow down already. Who are we on board with that's got to slow down?
That is
You and Taylor. It's you and Taylor. He's actually got the pass. Kaketso's got past him. So down the Kimmel Straight, Kaketso, we saw him getting massive tow. He pulled out alongside and into the heavy braking point at the end. I think they're normally doing in these cars, I don't know, probably about 120 into that corner, and he's got the move done. So I don't think he's happy just to finish in second and get enough points to win. He wants to go clean. He wants 3 from 3. Obviously, as you see, our set of Corsa guys, predominantly besides for Leslie Oliphant, have all kind of said, listen, we out here, we're going to watch Formula 1, and no disrespect for them, I understand it, because this battle isn't really for them. They're not in with a shout. So it is literally coming down to our Gran Turismo guys, and it really is going to be a cracker battle. Dean Nokia is obviously sitting down in third place, and Jean de Jager really having a cracker day. He got an amazing start. He actually had that same start in that second restart that we had, and in that was also stopped. So he obviously saved that in the memory banks, and he absolutely nailed it off the line. So that was really good.
I think the PC guys, game recognises game, doesn't it? They've been quite complimentary of these GT Sport in chat. Jordan Sherritt said, no, Kaketso is just awesome at this game. So they're fair enough to hold their white flags up and work out now who is a straight shootout to represent South Africa at that FIA Games.
Yeah, because effectively, as mentioned, the guys are going to be playing the same sim, the same game. So, I mean, the best chance for us to win it there would be the fastest that we can send. And I do think these top guys are world-class fast. We've seen it with Jordan Sherritt as well. Jordan Sherritt competes at an international level successfully. And I mean, for him to compliment these guys like that, I do think these are world-class guys in our top 3 positions.
Yeah, Jordan Sherritt's given it a good go, hasn't he? He enough of a go that he knows how good you have to be to put in the times that these guys are, so he's quite rightly sort of respected their game, and all the PC guys will be supporting whoever wins this and represents South Africa, because they become a South African then. We always want the South African to do well.
Yes, as spoken as a true Brit supporting South Africans. I love it.
Oh yes,
until the British guy wins.
About that. Okay, not this anymore. So Marius will discuss our new representative. So.
No, listen, it is. It's super cool, but just also, I mean, we were speaking at length earlier just about how difficult it was going to be for them, in particular, heading into the feature race because of all those subtleties in terms of having to pit stop, running on the different compounds. It really was going to be a hard race for our PC guys to be up in there with a shot. But listen, well done. We said we haven't spoken much about Leslie Oliphant, and suddenly here he is, running in 5th place.
Going to get his best result so far.
It's amazing, and he looks really, really settled. But that's a crucial thing. I mean, these guys will be the first ones to tell you as well. If this was now running on a Assetto Corsa, they'd also be putting up the white flag and be clapping and saying, geez, you guys are masters. And I think that for me is what is so cool with motorsport, and actually all sport really, is that you respect people that are the top of their particular game. And when I say game, in this case, it is a game. they are the best at their simulation, whether it be Gran Turismo or it be Assetto Corsa. So it really is cool to see the camaraderie and the support across both platforms. So nicely done. I'm glad the guys have supported and been involved in the race.
Well, the car sure is looking good out there. I mean, just look at that livery on these cars as we watch Leslie Oliphant giving Taylor Huey a bit. Oh, sorry, that's Leslie Oliphant getting some pressure there from Stephen. Yeah. So
Stephen Monka.
Some pressure on Leslie Oliphant over there in 5th position. But up front, it's all the same as the two guys battle it out further back. We've got Pilani in 1st position still. And looking good in 1st place, there was Jean de Jager in 2nd place.
Well, what I'd like to see, if we can go on board with Coquetzo...
We want to see some tyres, don't we, to work out strategy, yeah.
100%. So if we can go on board and actually get the data and have a look at what tyres they're running. So that's hard. What is he running? Hard? It's very difficult to see. To know what they're running, because, I mean, there's obviously 2 strategies here. Are they going to do 1 stop, 2 stops? As we found out, thanks to Daniel, there's no difference in tyre life. You'd think that the hard compound would give you, well, run.
Yeah, they wear, it's just they all wear at exactly the same rate. So
silly. I don't like it.
Against what you'd expect. I was surprised, but that's according to Dean, tells me that, no, it makes no difference. The softs, you want to be coming in 6-7 laps is the optimum. You can obviously push them further if you wanted to, but it gets a little bit risky. Hards, still 6 to 7 laps.
But it's just the lap time difference. I mean, you said like 3 seconds a lap around here between.
Yes, they have less grip, but they wear roughly the same amount of time. So yeah, you'd like, we'd all think, well, 3 seconds, but they'll last forever.
Yeah. Both front guys are on racing medium tires at the moment, so they are running the medium compound, and we go on board with both of them. This is what it looks like on each vehicle. We got Jean de Jager in 2nd place over here, chasing down our wild card entrant with 33 minutes to go. The race has barely started. They're running on the same fuel load, same tires, and the gap already has eked its way out. He's still in view though to Jean de Jager.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, that's done and dusted, because we know about the massive slipstream that is kind of a little bit exaggerated in this. But I mean, you've got a long straight here, the Kimmel straight, but I mean, that toe is gone. I mean, literally Coquetzo's run away with it, so he's just got to keep it neat and tidy, don't exceed any track limits and get any slowdowns, and this literally is his. But Daniel, just having a look at them both running on the mediums, you said they had to all run with the hard and with the medium. So
yeah, so at the moment
the guys could do one lap stop, one stop strategy, run right the way to the end and literally do 1 lap on that hard tire.
Yeah, you're totally right. So what we're looking for is we're only on lap 4 now. We're looking lap 6 or 7. If someone pits lap 6 or 7, then they're a 2-stopper most likely. Yeah. If they both push it, then they might be changing this to a 1-stopper. I got the feeling that the 2-stopper was preferential. But yeah, they might have been holding their cards a little bit close to their chest and not trusting the commentator with that information.
They knew that you would just go and blurt everything out to us, and we would blurt everything out.
But I was never going to mention it to another driver, so now we're on track. It doesn't matter, does it? But we'll see. We're looking for lap 6 or 7. That's the key. So only 2 more laps to go, whether one comes into the pits. But it doesn't leave us anything at the moment. Medium still keeps all their options open. If someone started on the softs, it would be different.
Daniel, just, I mean, going on that, what I remember when we did race here at Spa in one of the earlier rounds, and RTA Safa, Carl also gave me some ins and outs, and they were also saying that it's much of a matches between the 2-stop or the single stop, and I was saying to them, yeah, but you've got such a long pit stop here in theory. But what we actually saw in the race was that the guys that did the 1-stop ended up with the quicker overall race time. So I'd be surprised if the guys go and do that. For me now, all that Coquetzo's got to do is literally just cover the guy behind him. So, you know, if Jean pits, well, then he will pit. I mean, that's literally what I would do. That's what any top racing team, I think, would do as well. You literally just have to cover the guy behind you. So whatever he does, you 1 lap later do the exact same thing, and that'll continue his lead. But as it stands now, I mean, even if he finishes in 3rd or 4th place, he's still going to take the title.
Yeah, so we've been told that the gap loss for a 1-stopper is about 40 seconds. But if you go for a 2-stopper, you save 6 seconds in the first stop, and then the final splash and dash for your single lap is only 24 seconds. So obviously, having to run those hards for potentially 6 or 7 laps, losing 3 seconds a lap, it's very marginal, put it that way. It's very marginal, but obviously You've got to be really going flat
Yeah.
out for the entire time to make
And
it
that's
work.
the thing, that doesn't allow for any mistakes. I mean,
No.
that strategy, you've got to be absolutely on point. One little oversteer moment on the hard compound, which I would imagine might be easier. Oh, we've got a bit of an overtake maneuver trying to take place here. Oh, this is Stephen Mocker going at it with, Leslie Oliphant. Leslie Oliphant holds him off as they go over the start-finish section over there, and now going to the tight right-hander. Leslie Oliphant has the line going into the hairpin over here, and Stephen Mocker having a look around the outside is going to try and do the undercut. Will he do so down there? Oh, Leslie Oliphant gets it sideways again.
Yeah, I think, heading through La Source over there, we saw through the chicane as well. Leslie doing a great job keeping Stephen Mocker behind, but I think it's so easy to get on the juice a little bit early and light the rear up, and we actually saw him do that twice in a row. But I mean, Stephen Mocker should actually have this done and dusted now down the Kimmel Straight. Lots of opportunity just to pull out before they head into Lecum. So well done. I think Stephen's got that pass done. If Leslie can hold on to this, that's going to be super impressive.
He's certainly keeping the inside line, isn't he? But it's done.
Look
It's
at
done.
that. Look at that. Overtakes him around the outside, does Stephen. But Stephen obviously had the pace up the hill there big time. But Leslie Oliphant should be proud of this performance, giving it to one of the top GT guys in the country, as you mentioned earlier on. I mean, this is a great performance from the ACC.
If nothing else, I'm pretty sure that's the most sideways Leslie Oliphant's been in a GT3 car this season.
100%. You know, the other thing we haven't really spoken about, remember these guys also have all the different fuel maps, so that also plays massively into the strategy that they're going with. So for someone like Koketso now, does he end up looking at his lap delta and say, okay, let me dial back and go into a bit of a fuel saving mode so he can run a little bit longer? These are the sort of things that they are so used to doing, which in a sense, of course, the guys obviously wouldn't be bothering about. They'd be getting their car set up to go and race, and then they'd go and race. Whereas now, for them, these are the sort of things that the guys will be working out. So I'm sure a little bit later, now it's probably good as we get to lap 6 or 7, it'd be nice to go on board and see what the fuel is looking like, because that'll also give us an indication if the guys are going to be stopping early and making it a 2-stopper. So we'll be able to bring you that information as soon as we go on board. So have a look here, sitting in half a tank. So yeah, I don't see anybody doing a 2-stopper with our top 3 at this stage. I think everyone's going to turn this into a 1-stop race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, won't it? It really will be interesting. I think that the nuances, back to the nuances of the game, for GT Sport, it's brake bias and fuel mapping. You don't worry about your tyre pressures or anything. When you go to ACC, tyre pressures is the biggest thing of your life. You've got to know every single bit of tyre pressure, the perfect window for every condition.
And it works on point system, so like point decimal is what you're going to be looking at. So the detail is just incredible when it comes to tyre pressures there.
But
And then these guys are changing their fuel mapping whilst they're off throttle in braking zones. So you're maximising the game to the nth degree, aren't you, in both situations, really?
Yeah.
You know what I do like about a set of courses, when you chat to the guys like Kelvin van der Linde and Sheldon and Jordan, you know, they'll tell you like it's so difficult to get the car to perform because, you know, in that temperature window the tires go off or it just doesn't work. So it is very realistic in terms of that. You know, when you get to fuel mappings and everything else, that is what the bank of engineers are doing on the pit wall and telling you to push this button and change the map mode. You're not having to calculate that, the engineers are. So, you know, both of these elements work in real motor racing as well. The difference is, for me, from a driving perspective, the tire pressure thing I think is something that's more critical to your driving experience, and what they're doing from a fuel saving perspective is more strategy that your engineers would be telling you to do on the pit wall.
Well, the pit wall is still a long way away for Jean de Jong as he goes through about halfway of this massively long sparse circuit, chasing down Koketso in first position there. The car looking good in that blue color with 26 minutes to go. Jean de Jong is still in it, and I mean, just judging from the attitude of this car, he is still absolutely pushing. He's not given up, not by a long shot.
No, but Koketso Brulani's actually really pulled a gap already, hasn't he? We're saying like slip will be a big factor here, but all of a sudden when you throw in all the extra things as well, it's not anywhere near as important as the sprint races where there's gaps being a lot easier to brake, and we've got quite big breaks throughout the field.
Yeah, but I think that
fifth place.
Yeah, I was going to say, big talking point there. I mean, Dean is 10.2 seconds behind. I remember Dean won the championship, so he came into this semi-finals 2 weeks ago as the fastest in GTS. So this is a really impressive performance by Joan de Jager to be literally opening up a gap like that over the championship winner. So very impressive. Ewan Taylor, you can see him in the distance there as Dean goes through Les Sources. But yeah, really good racing, and something that's unusual for me. The clouds are what you expect to see when you go to Spa, but no rain. Jeez, can you imagine throwing some rain down when you see these guys fighting to put grip down on these cars? I mean, very, very entertaining, but that's not going to happen today, which is good.
I've heard actually the rain in GTS is even worse than ACC, as in that even the GT Sport guys feel it's totally unrealistic in how much grip you lose. So I think we're better off crowning a driving champion than an ice skating champion. So it's quite good that we just have clouds and no rain, I think.
100%. I would imagine when you start going to and you start looking ahead to the FIA World Games, you know, when they pick a game and they say this is the one we're going to use, they know what's realistic and what isn't. So it'll be silly, I imagine, to bring those sort of effects into it. Exactly. It's going to be, listen, perfect conditions. Let's see. Well, we've got to slow down here. So that's Ewan Taylor. I was just complimenting him. It looks like he's run a little bit wide, and that's given him. But he's got such a massive gap. And this is what's interesting. If you've been watching the qualifying for the Spa 24 hour, the guys were all laughing because they've actually put new devices on the car. So it's not about let's have a look at it afterwards. It's actually a tracker on each of the vehicles that tracks their location.
Oh, really?
It's radical. I mean, I was looking at
that's like VAR for motor racing, that is, isn't it?
100%. And David Perrell actually posted a photograph of it with a screen, with a photograph of the timing board, and it's like exceeding track limits, but literally everyone through turn 9 as an example. And so that's how hectic it's got now, that they can actually monitor that to that point. So the drivers now at least know, like turn 9 as an example, you know what it is that you've got to do there, so you just stay away from it. But you know, when it gets to qualifying and you're wanting to push the margins, being able to balance that very, very fine line is what makes them the very best in the world. And that is why I think Coquette's always like the best. We haven't seen him.
We haven't seen a slowdown, have we, from him?
No mistakes. No mistakes.
Not at all. But and even when, like there, the start of this race didn't get a great start.
We've got a pitter. Dino's in the pits, lap 8. Okay. This could be a 2-stopper. He's at the end of lap 7.
Well, you know, that for me kind of makes sense because we said Dean really has been kind of off the pace here. So this might be him trying to change up the strategy so he can try and leapfrog Joan de Jager and turn this into a race. When you're sitting 10.5 seconds behind, you've got to make a strategy call. So this for me is probably what is happening here, that he's going to turn his race into a 2-stopper. But yeah, this is cool. We haven't got to see this today yet because it's been sprint races, but this is, as you said, they've got to run on both compounds, the medium and the hard. There's a soft compound available to them as well. So the trick now, is to see how much fuel. Does he decide to fuel long? I don't know. He can change strategy through as well.
So if he's gone onto the hards, he'll just be doing one lap and then straight back in. If he hasn't, he's on mediums.
Well, Diamantino has been very much off the pace, considering the fact that he was so dominant in the rest of the season. So it'd be interesting to see. We're hoping for some drama here. We're hoping for a leapfrog situation as Leslie Oliphant now also goes into the pit lane. But
Ernest, so Ernest, I just see now he's switched to medium. So he was running on hards. You know,
which is strange because they was telling me that there would be no reason to do a long stint on the hards.
But this is what's so bizarre. This is, again, a set of Corsa guy not understanding those subtleties of GT Sport, possibly. But what is impressive, we were saying that he's 3 seconds slower, and he was holding back Stephen Mocker. He was having a good race, sitting in 5th place on the hard compound tyre, which is massively compromised on lap time. So these are those little subtleties. He should never have been running on the hards. He should have been on mediums to start. So, little things that obviously he won't know, having not spent time playing this game.
So when we had confirmation from the team that they were definitely going to split strategy, it looks as though Coquetzo is going to do a 1-stopper and Dean's on a 2-stopper at the moment, to me anyway, with Coquetzo still going through on lap 8.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if this was a pre-race strategy call, but I think just looking how things have played out for Dean, I think he's got to try and do something, because I can guarantee you as a champion,
It's not looking good though, is it? Because I mean, the one on the two-stop has got to be going absolutely hell for leather to gain back a stop, and at the moment he's behind Kaketso regardless.
But I don't even think he's worried about Kaketso now. He knows he can't. I think he's trying to secure second place overall. So that's where you see Taylor's now Ewan Taylor's gone into the pits as well.
As well.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting now. So these guys, look, they can still turn this into a one-stop, They can choose to run long. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. This is what we were kind of struggling with, Ernest. Remember, when we first got into GT Sport, trying to go, like not understanding all the strategy, Where's Steven when we need him? Remember that
Yeah, exactly. So good. I think you should retire from racing and just come join us here in the box.
Just to help us out. We're not saying Daniel's not good.
No, never said that. Never said that.
No. I'm certainly not. I'm never going to confess to being an expert at this game. That's for sure. I still haven't got a PlayStation in my living room. I need to sort it out.
Well, we're on board now with our main man over there, Pilani, in the first position by 8.5 seconds so far. Joan Iago still hasn't pitted yet, and neither is he, as he goes down the hill now up into fourth gear, 190 kilometers an hour, long sweeping left-hander up into fifth gear now. We've got that right-hander up ahead. He's going to probably do about 235 kilometers an hour. You're hard on the brakes there into the right-hander. And just look at how neat and tidy he is. His line's absolutely perfect. Not any mistakes coming to bear from the young South African over there. Really brilliant drive from him so far.
Brilliant. And you know what's interesting now? So I've had a look at those guys that have pitted. I think they were all running on mediums. They've gone back onto mediums again, which then means they're obviously running a two-stop strategy. They're going to stop right at the end, put the hards on for one lap. So
Kaketso's got to do a good stint on the hards now, hasn't he? If he's doing a one-stopper, that could be the difference.
Yeah. So
these are mediums at the moment, and the tires are looking good, but fuel is running low. So we can expect Kaketso to come in either this lap or the next.
He's going to want to push these mediums as far as he possibly can, though.
Let's see.
So
Next
halfway
lap.
through the race, going to get an extra lap out of it. So he wants to try and minimise the amount of time that he's on that hard compound and losing probably a second and a half over the mediums.
Yeah, I think. I mean, look, he's opened up there, and he's. Oh, that's who's gone in. So Johan Diago, I saw him pulling into the pits in the background. So he's gone to pits. So this is quite interesting now to see how this pans out. But I think they both are going to be running the same strategy. So have a look. If you see Johan Diago going onto hards, Kaketso's then going to smile. Because all he has to do is, well, that's kind of game over. Pit the next lap, put hards on, and your nearest rival is 9 seconds behind you at the time that the pit stop started. So this is really playing into Kaketso's hands now.
It's a
It's hard to see
Pilani
how he can lose it from here, really, isn't it?
Right.
Joan Diago. Looks like we've got eyes on Joan Diago now in the pit lane, and this Spa pit lane is just ludicrously long. It takes them a long time to get in and out. Joan Diago putting in quite a lot of fuel by the looks of things.
He's also putting on mediums from what I can see. Because that hasn't changed. So has he gone and turned his into
There you go. Something changed to hards.
Okay, it's changed hard. Okay, there we go. So as we predicted, done and dusted, one stop. So I expect to see Kaketso pulling in now. That's exactly what I would do. See your competitors pitted and just cover exactly what they've done. So he went in there, I think it was 9 or 10 seconds at the time that Sean pulled into the pits. So yeah.
I'm saying the gap loss for a one-stopper is approximately 40 seconds. So a 51-second lead to second place. He can just cruise almost, doesn't he?
Well, 100%, but that's what I said. I mean, if his nearest rival went and did a strategy change there and kind of went on to mediums as an example, well, then it keeps him thinking a little bit, but he did have a big enough buffer, I think, anyway. You'd have to have a perfect two-stop strategy. But we remember I predicted that Dino was kind of do a strategy call here, and it's played into his favor here, because he's now obviously leapfrogged Joan Diago, so he's obviously trying to secure that second position. But it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to make it all the way to the end, because I predicted that Dean was going on to a two-stop. So
he might have one lap splash and dash at the end, I think.
Exactly, which I don't think is going to be enough. I think Joan will have him squared off very, very easily.
Well, he is starting to eke out a little bit of a gap. He's got a little bit of pace on Joan by the looks of things here, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near enough. Look at
He's
that.
got to be 24 seconds for a splash and dash to actually pay off.
Pilani's in the pits now with 1 liter of fuel left. He just basically crawled his way into that pit lane.
So he's going to go onto the hards now, isn't he?
it's as we predicted he would do. But this is interesting. I expect to see Dean race away if he wants to make his two-stop strategy work over Juan de Jager. But there is no ways with 16 minutes to go that he can open up enough of a gap to be able to stay ahead of Juan, who's obviously only running on a one-stop with the hard tyres that he's got on at the moment.
So Kuketso still in the pit lane, waiting for the fuel to get topped up. He's going to get fuel all the way to the finish, somehow managing to make it through to the pit lane for with just 1 liter of fuel to go. We got some info coming through from our director over here, and whoever finish in speed 2 will still be the runner-up, and Kuketso not be able to go over to the States, then that person will pull in. So the drivers that are fighting for P2 are fighting for the
reserve
position.
driver, aren't they? They're fighting for the reserve driver spot, which is always, you want to be ready just in case.
You want to be ready. You want to be ready. You got to be ready.
I was hoping you were going to read that like the Miss Universe, you know, and the first princess, should the Miss World not be able to take her crown, you know, the usual stuff. But all jokes aside, it is serious, and I think that's what we said earlier, why Dean is really wanting to make sure he secures that runner-up position.
I mean, he's stretching a lead, but only 1.8 seconds is not enough, is it?
Not enough. You were talking about 17, maybe 18 laps overall. So, you know, you're looking at six and a half laps to go in this race with 15 minutes. It's not gonna happen. So, I think Juan de Jager at the end of the day is going to be our reserve driver. But Kuketso has done this. It's textbook perfect. He literally has not put a wheel wrong. I guess in his mind, the only blemish was getting dropped off the line at the start of this feature race at Spa, where
they gave him something to do at least, otherwise it would be like a practice session. He had to pass one driver.
Yeah, one driver
he did it well.
all day. Jeez, and he picked an easy place as well. But the move was a ballsy move, because literally round the outside heading into at the end of the Kimmel Straight into Lecum. So really good racing. It's been brilliant to watch.
But I mean, we haven't seen a single slowdown, and at Spa, it's notorious for track cuts in every simulator because it is so easy to go wide here. Real world, it's exactly the same. That's why they're so hot on it, because Pouillon, you put 2 wheels over, so easy, just trying to push a bit too much speed, but Kuketso, nothing.
Incredible, eh?
Yeah, the 17-year-old has really surprised all of us, and I think a worthy representative of the series. Certainly someone that has proven that he is as fast as they say he is, and beating out guys that I thought were unbeatable. Juan de Jager and Diamantino were unstoppable in the in-season racing, and just Kuketso just showing them absolutely how it's done.
Yeah, listen, the DMR team really have come here with a lot to prove, and I think for me the standout performance was them as a collective team in the semi-finals, because the RTA guys were in. It was ding-dong battles, race after race, and Dean was winning, but he wasn't having it all his own way. But come semi-finals, it was clean sweep. So this is really obviously a massive moment for them in the finals to be fully represented with one PC driver. Well done. I'm loving the fact that Leslie Oliphant is still on track and doing his thing.
He's going to love the points for 6th place as well, isn't he? As far as the final table is concerned, at least.
It'll be funny if he leapfrogs everyone, but he's too far behind, sitting on 10. So I think he finishes on, I don't know what the points will be. It's double points, but I don't think he'll get ahead of Jason and.
The other guys are getting 0 points at this stage for this feature race, so maybe there might be a little bit of an upset there, and he gets to take the bragging rights with him instead of Jason Abschmeyer or Jordan Shedden. But as you mentioned, Marius, this is a team outfit. I mean, as far as the team goes, what a big success for Team DMR.
Yeah, it's been really, really incredible, and I just love all the support. You know, I know obviously how this plays out. Dean will be super disappointed, for sure he will. But you know, at the end of the day, we'll be stoked to have one of his teammates going to represent the country. So that's quite cool. I'm just having a look at points over here now. So if he finishes in 6th place, he scores 16 points plus his 10. He'll be on 26, which I think makes him the top PC finisher.
Oh, so there you go. You've got to be in it to win it. He was the only one in it.
I love it.
To finish first, you must first finish.
Well done. And sorry for the slow calculations. I'm from Port Elizabeth. I had to take my stops off to do the calculations. I've got to use hands and toes, but brilliant. So well done to Leslie. I think that's flipping awesome. But but this guy is just in a class of his own.
Well, Dino has taken another second off Stinky.
Yeah,
And
'cause that's
Dino
a
now
different strategy
currently
at play, isn't it?
6 seconds behind. 6 seconds behind. Oh, Stinky gets a bit twitchy there. 6 seconds behind. Let's watch that gap over the coming few laps. I'll be interested to see as Dino makes his way neatly over there. So,
yeah, but you have a look. I mean, it's five behind the leader and a 5-second gap over third place Juan de Jager. But I mean, we've predicted that he's got to stop again. So yeah, it's going to be splash and dash.
Can we go on board with him to see
unless he can keep his fuel?
Like?
If he's got enough fuel, he hasn't been on the softs at any moment, has he? Has he?
I'd love to go on
He
board
started on the
and see
mediums
that.
and he come out. Did he come out again on the mediums? I can't remember what fuel,
There we
what
go.
tyre Dino's
He's
on.
on
He's not on hards. He's on racing. I can't see on that small graphic. If somebody with eyes can tell me.
Looks like racing mediums.
So he's still got to go on to the hards because he started on the mediums.
Yes, I think he's got to do one lap on the hards. Pretty sure
He
he
does.
started on the mediums.
He
Yeah.
does.
Oh man, that would
Yeah,
suck.
so that was what we. Yeah,
Everybody's on racing mediums at the moment. So, and also we could have a look at our leader's fuel, because at the moment Dino's on half fuel load, and I'd love to see what our leader's fuel load is looking like at the moment. As
fuel
Yeah,
won't
more.
be an
There you
issue.
go. Quite a bit more.
Yeah, but fuel won't be an issue. I mean,
can map
Dean
it.
will be able to make it to the end, but the problem is the tyres. So that for me, as I predicted, he's gone to a 2-stop strategy, and to make that work is going to be really difficult. Surprising then that he didn't go onto the soft tyre. You know, if you wanted to really make that work, but you don't do the one lap on the hard. So
the gap now 5.2 seconds only. 5.2 seconds only. It was much higher earlier on, but let's see if Dino can have anything to say. Stinky and JDJ are on hards. Dino's on the, what did we say?
Yeah, the leader we saw go on hards, which is why
Yes.
the gap's come down so significantly, hasn't it? It was 7 seconds now, under 5 seconds to the lead, but it doesn't matter because he's got track position and strategy advantage. this Koketsu.
100%.
But now, this is the thing. Is it possible for Dino to take this to the finish?
No, not at all, because he's got another pit stop to do. That's the thing. You've got to run on the hard and you've got to run on the medium. They all started on the medium. So the thing is, when Dean stopped early, he went back onto mediums, which means he's going for a 2-stop strategy. He's got to do one splash and dash lap on hards at the end to wrap it all up.
So it looks like he's going to be stranded in third place, really, doesn't it? Because the gap's not even anywhere near.
Dino, well, he doesn't have enough points to get first place anyways.
No, we know. This
But he's fighting for the second spot, isn't he? That's the reserve driver. He wants to be the South African reserve driver, and Jean de Jager was at the moment doing enough.
Yeah, that was what we spoke about at the time of the pits. It was never about the lead. He can't catch Koketsu ever, so it was always about finishing in second and leapfrogging Jean. So that's why he made that strategy call. But it's a brave move, and he had no other option. You know, he was 10 seconds behind Jean at that stage, so he had to roll the dice. 100%, he had to roll the dice. But I think at the end of the day, when it all settles down, it's going to be Koketsu winning with Jean in second, and Dean's going to be quite a way back. That's the unfortunate thing, but it is giving us something exciting to look at, because he is closing at a rate of knots. The medium's obviously a lot quicker than the hard compounds that Koketsu is on. So this is really cool. I mean, it's nice for you guys if you are watching and you haven't watched GT Sport before. A lot of strategy involved. It's actually a lot like the Formula One qualifying that's on at the moment in terms of that and understanding how the tyre works. Obviously no tyre degradation, which is a bit bizarre for us and probably something that you will see changing. So they're all going to get the same tyre life out of it, but it's just obviously the massive difference in time per lap between the various compounds.
Yeah, well, the gap now 4 seconds all the way down from, I think it was 10 seconds early on. So we've got our director and producers here looking at the results, trying to figure out who goes where. But so far, the gap now below 4 seconds with 3.9 or 4 seconds thereabouts.
Yeah, I think Koketsu is going to be perfectly comfortable where he is. He's just literally got to keep it on the black stuff, and he's going to be our representative for South Africa at the FIA Games, isn't he?
As is also DMR Dino is 1 point ahead of Juan de Jager if they stay in these positions at the moment.
No, but they're not going to. So that's why we've already made the strategy call. So doing those calculations, pretty irrelevant because he's got to do one more stop. So Jean de Jager is also seen off the challenge from Dean. I'm just loving the livery though. We mentioned it earlier. Tonight's biggest loser on the back of his
What is that about?
It's pointing to the person behind him, isn't it? It's the ultimate cocky sort of bumper sticker, that is.
But Daniel, don't you love it? Listen, if you're going to have a big mouth and mouth off, you've got to back it up.
You've got to back it up.
Otherwise, you look like a twat. But he's gone and backed it up 100%. He does definitely need to stop
That's the
again.
thing. I'm not sure if he needs to stop again. I'm not sure. But we're going to have to wait and see.
He started on mediums. All of them started on mediums. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
There was a few cars on hards. I just can't remember. Dean, we said the top two were on mediums, and we saw them both coming in. But the two wasn't Dean, was it? I didn't see what Dean's tyres were when he came into the pits. We had Kaketso on mediums, and we had Jean-Diago on mediums, and they've both gone onto the hards after their first pit stop. So I'm not sure on Dean. He's catching so quick that you feel like, I mean, why would Dean start on the hards and do such a long stint on them? But then if he's gone for a one-stopper, he might have done the opposite that way.
Yeah.
But exactly, but it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, for me, the only person I thought that was on hards was Leslie Oliphant in that opening stint. Because what Dean himself told you is that you're going to do one lap on the hards unless he's playing reverse psychology with you. But it makes no sense.
Well, the only reason if Dean started on the hards and the other two on the mediums and they flipped it over, I didn't see Dean starting tyre, and that's the only disappointment. If we saw what Dean, but it would explain why he's catching. I mean, he's got the gap down to 3.2 seconds. I still don't think it's going to be enough because we've only got 3 laps left, haven't we? So it's still...
I think he might catch up. Whether he's going to get past or not, that's another story. It wouldn't serve him to pass or get into a battle. But as it stands, Dean, if he finishes like this, he will be a reserve driver.
And we saw that he's definitely going to have to do some fuel management because we saw he was a lot less fuel on board than Kaketso a few laps ago.
And Daniel Dean, through the season, has had a couple of low fuel moments. We've seen him limp across the line before.
Oh, yes.
He does cut it very fine. But he's brought that gap down, but I'm still sticking with what I thought was happening here, was that it's going into a two-stop strategy from my perspective. Because, it just doesn't make any sense that he would have
I got confirmation from another driver that he did start on the hards, Dean. So he doesn't... He apparently, Jordan Sherritt is adamant that he started on the hard tyre.
Wow.
So he's done the opposite from Kaketso, which is why he's caught up the time. He might not have to stop again. If he's got the fuel, he won't have to stop again.
Geez, then I put my hand up and say it wrong because I kind of called him. I thought he had started on the mediums.
We only saw the top two, didn't we? Got confirmation that the top two were on mediums, but it wasn't. Dean was in third place at the time, wasn't it? So he's actually jumped in the pit stop phase over third place.
Jean-Diago. And unbelievably.
You also don't see, because I mean, when we see the car in the pits, I'm trying to remember what the tyre was on, because obviously only once they leave does it give you the new symbol that shows that they've gone onto mediums or they've gone onto hard. So, I'm trying to remember what we saw, but I felt pretty certain that he had started on mediums too. If not, fantastic roll of the dice by Dean. He snookered all of us. He even snookered you, Daniel, telling you, you only can do one lap.
He was telling me that he was leaning heavily towards the two-stopper with a one lap on the hards to try and save those 3 seconds a lap to stay off them, but yeah.
But unbelievably, could he win this race? 2.8 seconds between them now. 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. Everything to play for. Or maybe the tires are going off on the car in front. Maybe the tires are coming on the car at the back. But either way, Dino is your reserve driver as it stands. Jean-Diago, unfortunately, getting pushed out of the second position spot after a fantastic drive from him by all accounts.
But remember, there's no tyre wear, so it's literally drive it as you stole it.
It should be the same, it should be the same.
Exactly, it's just a lap time benefit that you're getting. So lap after lap, you'll be able to systematically bring that down because his medium tyre is that much quicker than the hard tyre. But I mean, for me, I don't think this is going to be. This could be. No, they're not going on to the last lap. It should be the last lap actually. So I don't think Dean's going to do it because there won't be enough time for another lap after this. So this should be
so close. It's 2 minutes.
Final lap.
It's 18. It's going to be super close. I think it might be 18 laps instead of 17. 222, 221. This is going to be quite vital. 218. No, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think it's 17 laps.
Well, that was the prediction. They said if the guys were quick enough, some of them might get on to 18s. So to prove to prove what we said, Dean obviously great strategy, so he did. Well done, Jordan Sherrod, for giving us that information. He did start on the hard, so that's a great move. All of us assumed he was on mediums and going for a two-stop. We've never seen the two-stop strategy work here. When they raced earlier in the season, the one-stop definitely was the quickest, and yeah, we were thinking Dean's rolling the dice and trying something crazy. Meanwhile, he just started on the hards.
It could very well
made
be.
them work.
We were talking about possible team orders. I mean, let's be honest, these guys all want to win. Do you just
Yes.
a little spanner in the work between your teams? Hey guys, I've done some testing. Two-stop. Oh, I'm telling you, two stops where it's at.
Yeah,
And then, oh no, I'm doing one stop. But do you know what I mean? There's definitely a bit of that at play here, I feel.
Well, now with 1.5 minutes or so to go, the gap's still at 2.8 seconds. Certainly not enough. Even if they do another lap, I
They
don't
won't.
think there's going to be enough time in it. And looks like Keketso Pilani is going to be our winner so far. All he's got to do is keep it tidy.
It's pushing now as well, isn't it? The gap's actually stopped coming down. He saw it to 3 seconds, then he thought, no, I'll not have any of that. Let's keep it there, please. And he's kept it sort of just under that 3-second marker for the final lap.
And Ernest, you said it earlier, I mean, he doesn't need to win this. He can just let Dean pass. But I can tell you now, you want to actually wrap this up and go, I've won everything.
Yeah.
I've done qualifying. I've won every race. I've led every lap, which he has. Yes, he didn't get the start, but he started
Crossed
on
the line
pole,
in first.
and he crossed the line in first. So this is a perfect Saturday for Keketso Pilani. Brilliant. I mean, it's really been great
Really
driving.
amazing. Just want to get confirmation from our producer. Is the flag coming out on this lap? They've got 28 seconds to go.
Within a
before
second, I think.
finish.
It
Yeah,
will.
we're going to have to wait and see.
It should come out because they won't get to the line with any time left.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding. So he should get the flag
Yeah,
now.
it will do. But
It's-
they were so
yeah.
close. I mean, it'll be like 1 or 2 seconds in it. Otherwise, they could do
Oh,
another lap.
he
9
should-
seconds into the bus stop.
He's going to
Here we go.
slow it down. He should slow. I would slow it right down if I was
It's
him.
going to be all right. It's done. 3
done.
seconds. 2.
Well
1.
done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves an MSA Showdown winner.
Oh,
Let's see if the
brilliant.
flag comes out. Yes, it is. That is your MSA Showdown winner. Keketso Pilani takes it. First place by 2.6 seconds from the man that dominated the season, DMR Dino. But Keketso Pilani is going to Europe to represent South Africa in the FIA World Cup of Motorsport, effectively. Can you believe that, guys? We've got our first representative in this space, officially backed by MSA. There have been other drivers that have gone overseas, but Keketso Pilani will be representing South Africa. Can you believe that? We'll be right back after this break to celebrate the win for the young South African, just 17 years old. Keketso Pilani, well done, my man. You did it. The MSA Showdown has finally concluded after weeks and months of racing. We have one champion, and that champion is Koketso Pelani. He is the winner, and thanks to Motorsport South Africa, Kylomi 9 Hour, and of course Coach Dave Academy, ATK Pro Series, the entire production team, and Mercedes-Benz through the season, Koketso Pelani is now going to represent South Africa and what is effectively the World Cup of motorsport, and his discipline will be esports racing in Gran Turismo. I mean, this guy, by all accounts, does look like the best man for the job, Marius.
But what an opportunity, just the way you're explaining what he's going to get to do. I mean, I get goosebumps. I think how flippin' amazing to be able to represent your country, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And literally great to be able to come here to the finals when everyone's vying for that big carrot that's dangling, and he comes here and absolutely smashes it with a clean weekend, fastest in qualifying, wins all the races, leads every single lap, untouchable. Koketso Pelani, brilliant.
Yeah. Like you said, there was one blemish on that start, and he didn't actually lead the first straight, but then ended up finishing the lap in first place. We've got Joan de Jager in the booth with us. He's going to join us for a quick interview. Joan de Jager, our third place man, but what a drive from you. Joan de Jager has improved over the last couple of racing events. We're just waiting for him to jump into the room with us. There he is, Joan de Jager. You have improved over the last couple of races. Your pace has improved. You were in it today with a fight. Tell us how your day went and how your season went in the ATK Pro Series.
Hello everyone. It was awesome, not gonna lie. The experience was awesome and I loved every moment of it. But good to improve, and I can't say anything, I'm speechless. It was awesome.
Jean, just watching, super impressed, because, you know, sometimes as commentators we get caught up in the usual suspects, and you've always been there and thereabouts. But, you know, after the semi-finals with Koketso and then obviously Dean having won it, you know, you arrived today and you were the guy for all of us. I think they were like, my goodness me, like you were solid, like really, really good driving. And obviously a very interesting strategy call. We all thought that Dean would have to pit again, but obviously not realizing he'd started on the hards. So, yeah, you're going to now finish, just have a look at that. You're going to end up just behind him, third overall in the championship. So nicely done. You must be stoked.
I'm very stoked. I wasn't expecting getting these type of results, so I'm very happy, and well done to everyone above me and below me. Well done to everyone racing.
Were there team orders, Sean?
There were no team orders. I think we all thought today's not going to be a day for team orders or anything, because there's only going to be one winner. So I think everyone took their own path, and it's awesome.
Jean, I'm looking at the results from the season here, and you literally started off as someone further back in the pack, worked your way to the midfield, started getting fourth, fifth place results, and now you're mixing it up with the big boys right up front. I mean, have you noticed the change in pace over the season? Do you think you're going to be able to take it to the boys even more so going forward? What's changed on your side?
My dad helped me, and he told me it's no more times to play around, so today was just a day to go and do my best and do as best as I can. And with the help of my dad and also my teammates, they helped me get where I am today, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah.
I just want to say that was just awesome.
How old are you, Jean?
I'm 17 at the moment.
Unbelievable, but
sure. Amazing.
And speaking to your team, you feel the team feels like it's got a real good group behind them. You help each other out. So there's been no team orders today, but I should imagine all of you will get behind Koketso as he goes and leads you off as the team winner. So are you going to be all supporting him as he takes on the FIA Esports Championship?
Of course. Our team thought he was going to be the one to go through, because he has the pace, like, it's like unbelievable. The fact I can't do what he does on the car, not yet, maybe in the future. But yeah, I'm so happy for him, and I want him to go over and dominate to keep our teams.
That's
dude, that is how lucky is it to hear Oaks talk like that? You know, where
that's brilliant.
You know, we're all disappointed because we want to win, but you get a guy like Jean just saying, "Go and dominate, you the man," and that's what's cool in this environment. Because Ernest, well done for picking up his progression, because that is it. You start hanging around with faster guys, you spend time racing against faster guys, you yourself get faster. And I think that's what we saw with their domination in that semi-final. I think as a team, as a unit, they're working damn well together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these guys have really pushed the envelope over the last couple of weeks. And I mean, they've been working together to basically get the best out of each other. But that's it from Juan de Jager for now, the 17-year-old who has improved tremendously over the course of the season. And it's so nice to hear that his father's also getting behind him. So thanks for that. Thanks for joining us, Jean. We're hopefully going to get the other drivers. I just read in the comments now that Dino is joining us. Dino, is it true? I'm just waiting for the joiner. There we go. Dino, how's it? Is it true that you ran out of fuel at the end there? What happened? How did it go? How was your race day?
No, they didn't run out of fuel. Never
Okay,
did.
then these oaks are spreading.
It was just
I've
well
never run out of
calculated.
fuel. I
Half
actually got to say
litres
that
are
twice
plenty.
before. we both finished always with 1% over the line, always with like 0.1 to go. It
Nice.
saves you another second, so yeah.
Dean, there was one race, man. I'm trying to think if it was the second or third race where you.
Brands Hatch, yes, I underfueled on
Yeah.
purpose, and not one of us were going to make the next lap, so that's why they
Okay.
stopped before the next lap.
But Dean, listen, I was.
That was
I
an
was a
interesting race, so much fun.
Now listen, I was a chopper, and so were you, because you gave Daniel this whole thing. Hard compound, you're going to literally at the end put it on for one lap. So none of us even saw that you had started on the hard. So when you pulled into the pits first, I'm going, no, he's trying to two-stop. He's got to try and leapfrog Juan, but I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah,
And then
you
suddenly-
fed me some proverbial ball crap there,
Yeah,
Dean.
exactly.
I didn't. I said 2 stoppers and 1 stoppers are similar pace.
Yeah,
but
but
you said
nobody
you would-
did a two-stopper.
But you
Yeah.
also said no one would run on the hard compound for long. It would be silly. You'd only do one lap. But you ran your whole first stint on hards.
Well, obviously, if you're doing a two-stopper, you would have done one lap on the hards, wouldn't you? But because
Yeah.
you only did a one-stopper, you were forced to, with fuel, to
Yeah,
do
the
it more.
Mediums, if you start P1 and 2, you go mediums.
So
I'm
it
just
sounds,
losing you a bit, Dean.
And then hard. 100% correct, yeah.
it sounds
I'm
to
just
me
going to
like-
move closer to the offer.
There we go. It sounds to me like it matters where you start, Dino, and based on start position, you guys would have then worked out the strategy. Is that correct?
Absolutely 100%, yeah. Because if you are, in regards to the pace now, myself and Stinky are in agreement, because we're very similar in pace, exactly equal, to say that whatever compound he starts with, I'll do the opposite. So we don't have to battle each other during each stint, and we see at the end what happens. And that was going to make for
Wow.
entertaining racing.
Wow.
And where we lost it is because you started in third, because we saw Jean also start on the mediums with Coquetzo in second place. So the top
Wow.
two were on the same tyre, but because you were in third, you just snuck under the radar there with the hard tyre on the first stint.
So
well,
this-
not under the radar of the top two guys, so because they knew, because we're all on the body jet together.
Yeah.
So it really was as close as it looked, with you edging closer, getting to within 3 seconds striking distance. Dino, it's been a pleasure to watch you this season. I mean, you've just been on pace the entire time, and even now in this last race, it came down to the wire. So well done for making it to second place. You are reserve driver for the World Cup of Motorsport, effectively, with the FIA, which happens later this year. Congratulations on that, and congratulations on winning the GT Sport Championship and dominating like you have this season. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you next season, but until then, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to watch you perform.
Thank you very, very, very much. It's exactly how it should be. Stinky in first, myself in second. That's how it is in the team. So it worked out exactly perfectly. It's such an awesome pleasure watching you guys, and thank you so much for the season.
Super
Wow.
cool, eh?
Wow.
Ernest, I must admit, I mean, those are the sort of things that, I mean, we'd love as commentators. We get so used to the amount of information we can get on a Assetto Corsa. With Gran Turismo, you can't see all that stuff. You know, you don't have access to it unless you go on board. So it becomes
We
quite.
need Stephen to retire. We
Yeah,
need
but
Stephen to retire.
it just becomes quite difficult. Either you need somebody who's looking on board at all of them and feeding you that info.
Yeah.
But obviously they know what they're doing because they're all in the same flipping team. So it's all decided beforehand. But yeah, brilliant. Well done to Dean. Great result.
Well, we've got Coquetzo Pilani who's just joined us in the room now. Coquetzo, I mean, who are you? Where did you come from? Because you're still, I'm just going to ask it straight out. Like, what's going on? Where have you been all season?
And what planet?
I mean, congratulations. It's just, I'm blown away, man. I'm legitimately blown away by your performance.
Thank you. I've been playing GT Sport for quite a while now, but unfortunately with school, it's been getting in the way sometimes. And
School or Gran Turismo?
so with the ATK wildcard, it gave me an opportunity to at least try to get into the MSA Showdown. So I took it, and I didn't expect to be here, but I'm very happy to be here.
Koketso, I love it. You said you had the opportunity, so you took it. Dude, you didn't just take it, you absolutely dominated it. And today was amazing. I know we gave you a bit of grief 2 weeks ago where we thought you outbraked yourself, but as Daniel told us, you had some hardware issues, but amazing race. Just going into that final round and all the technical hassles we had, difficult to stay focused, or were you okay?
It was a little bit difficult, especially when I couldn't start for the first race, so I was a little bit worried. But thankfully the guys restarted, and I was able to participate. But yeah, it was a little bit challenging to just stay focused for the final race.
Have you got a passport?
Actually, I asked my dad about that, and he said that it expired, so we might have to get one.
You better go down Home Affairs on Monday morning, hey?
Have you been to France?
No, I've never been anywhere outside of South Africa.
Well, but you're gonna be you're gonna be going to France and doing what you do, dude. It's just super cool, and just such a nice vibe amongst your teammates too, because everyone just seems so supportive, and everyone kind of pushing the common goal that we want to have the best guy there. And without a doubt, Koketso, you are the best guy for the job, man. Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, the team has been really helpful. Everyone is super supportive. We always encourage each other to just go that little bit quicker, and that's what I really like. And we always keep on pushing each other. Even Dino, like every time he sets a quick lap, I try and beat that, and he tries to beat my lap. It always goes like that, and we try to push each other to get to the top.
Koketso, do you have, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs to anybody that you want to thank to help you on this journey? I mean, you're going to Europe, dude. I mean, you're going to represent South Africa on an international stage in what is effectively the World Cup of Motorsport. I mean, can you believe that?
Yeah, it's still settling in. I'm going to be going to Europe. But yeah, I do have a couple of people to thank. Firstly, I just want to thank my parents for allowing me to do the ATK wildcard. Even though I'm still writing exams, so I really appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you to Dino for always supporting me. From the first time we played GT Sport together, he was always supportive. And I want to thank everyone from DMR. They have really helped me improve in the last couple of months. And I also want to say a quick thank you to everybody at EKZ for basically when I was first coming onto the scene, for them picking me up, especially Tristan Denobrega, because he helped me a lot.
Wow.
Be the person who I am now in racing. So I appreciate him. And a couple of gents from EKZ too, such as Kaylan and Richard. So I want to just say thank you to those gents, because I would not be here without them.
Well, I don't think it's the last we're going to see of Kaylan Mao, Marius. What do you think? It's not Kaylan of this young gentleman, Koketso Pelani over here.
But you know what excites me the most? You go and look at Kelvin, Sheldon, Jordan, these type of guys. Yeah, you've got to have ability, but there's a bigger game at play. You've also got to be marketable. You've got to know how to play the marketing game. Mm-hmm. I'm listening to the 17-year-old talk, and I'm kind of going, are you kidding me? It's just so amazing. The humility to thank everyone, that it's not him, it's all me. I think that is just amazing. So you've got a guy with crazy talent, a guy that understands how he got to where he got to and is appreciative of that. And that for me is brilliant, because that is a representative you want, somebody who's going to kind of do your country proud. So yeah, that interview, I was quiet. I was just listening to it and getting quite emotional, because it's really cool to hear a guy like that at 17 who's got it all got all that humility and it all figured out with such amazing natural ability. Brilliant.
Well, Koketso, we look forward to seeing you represent South Africa. Your teammates have already said that they will be shouting from the sidelines to make sure that, what was the word he says, goes and smokes them in Europe?
Smashes them.
Smashes them, that's it. Yes. So, and ACC guys are showing some love and support here. We've got John Sheridan saying that you're clearly a talent. So we look forward to seeing you represent our country. Lots of practice ahead with you, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks. Try not to miss too much of school. But once again, congratulations on your performance, and we will see you in the finals with the FIA Showdown. Well done for winning the MSA Showdown, and we'll see you very, very soon on the international stage. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
Dude, what a cool guy, man. Hey.
sure, what a cool guy. And I mean, can you believe it? He's going to the FIA World Motorsport Games. We're going to be finishing up soon for the very last time, so that we can watch the Motorsport Games.
Hang on, before we go, have a look how close quickly. Dean 52, Jean 51, 1 point in it. But Leslie Oliphant, for sticking it out and racing that final race, has gone from 10th with 10 points to being the top flipping PC guy here. That is brilliant. Well done, Leslie. I love it.
What happens? Nobody needs to know what happened. All they need to know is that you finished 6th.
Take a screenshot of that, someone.
It's brilliant.
My name is Ernest Page, joined by Marius Roberts and Daniel Haynes. Any final words from you guys? I'll start with you, Daniel.
No, it's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, we had a little bit of a hiccup there, but we got there in the end. And I think we got there in a way that is completely undisputed who the champion was. And I think everyone's quite proud to send Koketso Polani over to represent South Africa. And I'm sure every driver involved and all the drivers involved throughout the season will wish him well, and will be rooting for him to really show South Africa well in the esports motoring division.
Marius, any words from you on what has been an incredible season of the ATK Pro Series? And we've been able to deliver on our promise of sending one of our very own over to go represent us.
Listen, Koketso sold himself, so that's all done on track and in the interview. But for me, the cool thing is just, you want to be taken seriously. And I think this whole series has been so well put together and run, and the support that we've had and the sponsors we've had on board. The officials I know get given a lot of crap and abuse and hard times, but I mean, they're there to kind of build the level of motorsport in a sim community to the level that it is. No one else is doing this sort of thing. So for me, I think as a team, ATK can be really proud in terms of what they've put together to bring the GT Sport guys into this arena, have the ACC guys to crown 2 champions like we have. It's just been really fun to be a part of it, and it's always been fun working with you, Ernest, and Daniel. I've really enjoyed working with you as well. But I think the big shout out is to Daniel and the production team, the guys you don't hear from or you don't 100%. See, but they make this thing work, and those are the real champions for me. So thanks for a cracker season.
An incredible season. We get a hey. You guys can't hear it in the background, but Daniel's always talking in our ears over here, giving us all that inside information. The other Daniel. But guys, thank you so much for joining us for this ATK Pro Series. It's been a stellar ride. We look forward to more events happening. We've got the Simola Virtual Hill Climb happening. We've got maybe some endurance races in the future, but more about that later. Kailami 9 Hour, of course, coming up soon. And then, of course, we've got Coach Dave Academy and Motorsport South Africa supporting us. What a ride it has been. My name is Ernest Page, joined by Marius Roberts and Daniel Haynes for the last time, folks. We'll see you guys next season. Thank you for joining us. Until then, goodbye.